Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Groyper Report. Tonight, we have some groundbreaking news to share with you.
Welcome to the Groyper Report. Introducing the most racist men alive. They are shutting it down as we speak. Welcome to the Groyper Report. Sexist. Racist. Phobic this, phobic that. Terrorizing women across the country. Telling them to wear clothes. Saying all women are mid. Minorities fear them. The president has them on speed dial.
Guess what? Your body, my choice.
Brought to you by Frog Aura Maxing. Brought to you by Frogs. Giga Chat Central, yes, thank you for asking. They all must go. Welcome to the one and only. Defending the last white men on Earth. AtlasThugged and Josh Vandernord. This is the Groyper Report.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to another edition of the Groyper Report. I believe this is episode 19. We're losing track. Who cares? Anyways, I am your host, AtlasThugged, a.k.a. Aaron Shepard, a.k.a. White Boy D-Voice, a.k.a. a bajillion other, what do they call them, monikers, nicknames, names. I can be whatever you need me to be. Anyways, I'm joined by my co-host, Josh Vandernord.
What's up, everybody? How's it going tonight? Excited for another episode of Groyper Report?
And as am I, and we are the one network not afraid to say Christ is King. Something that seems to be very hard for the average American to say, but that is what we are here to fix. Deport everyone who can't say that. Problem solved. America's fixed. This is why I should be running as a politician. Just kidding. I heavily fear ever doing something like that, to be honest with you. We have a good show for you guys today. It's going to be back. It's probably been the first time we've been back in 2 weeks. And part of that was because Nick Fuentes was not in town. He was actually in Rome. And so we'll be taking a couple look at some of the clips that we got from Rome. And Nick was back this week, however, covering pretty much every single day except for Thursday, I do believe. Thursday he missed again, but it's been a pretty slow news week. It was actually kind of a struggle for me to put news outlines together through this week. And we also have an event happening today. I don't even think it's over yet. That has become a point of controversy, and that is the America First United event and conference that was seemingly, and I have it on good authority, that it was thrown together and at least in part orchestrated by Amy Dangerfield and a few others also being involved there. We will hold all accusations, though, to the side and just try to address the contentions objectively, as objectively as we can. But Josh, how are you feeling this week, and what were you excited about?
I'm feeling good, dude. I'm excited that Nick is back. And you know what I'm most excited for? It's a total aside, but as you mentioned on your show, Atlas has been health coaching me through stuff. So I've been sticking to a diet regime that he's had me on, and it sucks sometimes, but this is the year of the lock-in. All right, guys. Yeah. And so 2 weeks strong. I'm down, I think, like 6 or 7 pounds. So let's go, dude. I'm excited. It's, mostly water weight at this point.
Can we get some W's in the chat for Josh losing weight? Let's go.
Hell yeah.
I'm funny enough, I was trying to get him a little bit to run the intense window that I was running, doing a bit of intermittent fasting and such too, but we will take it. And as always, anybody who wants information or needs help or wants a place to start, I'm always available for that. I was a personal trainer. I still am essentially, in essence, a personal trainer, although I don't do it much anymore. I still have the knowledge somewhere inside of my head. If you ask me enough times, it may come out. So with that, though, I think the best place to start is going to be where the most controversy is. And so we're probably going to work a little bit backwards this time around. And I want to just go ahead and ask Josh your opinion of this America First United conference. What did you think when you saw it was announced? Have you seen any of it, any of the stream today? And I guess what was your overall thought and reaction?
So I had heard about it. I haven't given it much thought until actually you were reporting on it on your show either last night or the night before, and I've seen bits and pieces coming out about it. But the thing that kind of caught my attention, which you, like I said, you reported on, was that like Democrats are going and they're wearing like doxed ICE officer shirts. And you even mentioned it a second ago, the fact that Amy Dangerfield is kind of running it, Nick's not going. This seems like capitalization on Nick's rise and fame and everything. That it's just kind of it almost seems like a shameless cash grab. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I think there's an element of it that's a cash grab. I wouldn't say that's for everybody though. Like when I look at people like Joel Webbin and Father Calvin Robinson, and I see some of them, and I think like piggybacking off of what Beardson had said in his space yesterday, I do think there's an element of this, which is they thought it'd be a good opportunity to go speak. Maybe they didn't really even think anything about it. It's like it's good opportunities for some people I know who are going here, and they probably didn't think to run it because they're coming outside of the Groyper camp, not thinking of the other directions it may go. And so that's what I would say. Really, it was just kind of like maybe 3 or 4 speakers there that I think actually are worth their weight. And I don't mean that to be offensive by any means, but I do mean that to be sincere. And I think the point that I would really press here is I think there's an element of this that perhaps it isn't a grift, but I think overall the optics of it just look terrible. And even I think in its most charitable interpretation, it just leaves a lot of things opened up for interpretation. I think it wasn't strong enough to the actual America First message. I think some of the guys in there did a decent job. But again, I didn't listen to the entire thing. And also, too, just an overall kind of blunder, which is the technical issues that they had. Even a little bit that I tried watching today, and you guys might see this later on, but I had an interview, a podcast discussion with Nat and the guy earlier today. They're out of Alberta, which I believe is in Canada, located somewhere in Canada. I could be wrong about that. I'm an American. I care about care about this country. But when I was done with that, I wanted to take a look and see where it was at. Curious what speakers were up there. I literally couldn't even get the stream to work. I tried on their website. I tried on Rumble. It was frozen. And when I went and checked, even on Amy Dangerfield's page, it looked like that they had lost connection and had to restart the stream. And so overall, I mean, it just looked like there was a lot of issues with it. Wasn't that well prepared, you would say. And that's the kind of the point, which is that's really what Nick gets up in arms about, is people who bring any kind of damage or attention to the movement that is otherwise unwarranted or would harm it or take it into a direction that we don't want it to go. And I just don't think that when you put a woman in charge of literally anything, you're going to get the result that you want. And again, and I think somebody said this, I saw this comment earlier, it was an X post, so that they actually had it spot on, which is this idea of like, what if the rule is never e-girls, how did we get an e-girl orchestrating basically a knockoff AFPAC? It's like it could only have gotten there by a bunch of people who are willing to bend and fold on like what the overall message of America First is. Now, Joel Webbin, though, actually said it best, I think. He said he added like 4 things, right? He's like, this is kind of like the message, and I kind of like it. It's pretty simple, but it's 4 elements. It is America first, not Israel first. It is patriarchy, race realism, and Christian nationalism. And I think he had a little bit different order than what I laid out there. But that's it. I mean, like, you need to be able to be good on all 4 of those. Otherwise, you're not one of us. Who's we? Right? Who's we? You got to be able to say Christ is king and be Israel critical. Before we go too far, though, I want to grab the super chat from Tuxedo Mask. He says, "Keep groiping my Griggas." Thank you very much. Appreciate that greatly.
That's good.
But yeah, that's kind of the overall gist of the conference. It seems like many of the Groypers are actually like rather intensely pushing back on it, and I think pretty much it's all deserved. And also, too, you put yourself out in the public sphere willing to carry water for a certain message, you better be prepared to eat the crow and the backlash of the people who have been there the entire time. This is kind of also what you see in MAGA. Don't call yourself MAGA and then betray everything that we have been pushing for, or we have been asking for, or voting for, or that we stand for. So I think all the criticism is valid, to be honest with you.
So let me ask you this, because you had mentioned in your show the other night that Casey Push was going to this event. Did you happen to catch his? Did he have a public speaking position, or
I
was
did
he
not
just
see.
there?
So, well, I believe so.
Okay.
As far as I understand, that the event was like a invite only. They only had like 200 confirmed tickets or something like that. Beardson ran into the same problem I did when I even began to contemplate the concept of going. And for me, it wouldn't be that far. It'd be like literally less than 30 minutes to go drive down south. It's happening right. I could still go there right now if I wanted to. There was no location information. There's like nothing. And so I would assume if he was on that roster, he was going to be a speaker. Otherwise, like, why would they say he was there? It doesn't seem like it was meant for a meet and greet. But I didn't catch him speaking at all, which was a little disappointing.
Bummer.
Yeah. Smelly Ball says he did speak. It went well, which is interesting. And Elrax actually brings up a good point. I was going to mention this earlier too. Elrax says that might be true, but it doesn't explain all the other issues with it either. Deep voices, low mics, everything. So the deep voices element, I think, is because the stream had issues. I don't think it was an audio issue, although they did have audio issues. It was extremely quiet. I had it max volume here. I had it was like boosted on the back end on my side as well. But I think it was the streaming element because it didn't sound like their voices were deeper. It sounded like they were, what's the word? Like slowed down. Like that was the kind of the vibe I was getting. Like it was like the stream rate was so bad that it was actually streaming at like at half speed or 0.75 speed or some kind of other fraction relation to that. And I would say too, you know, especially for all of the people who were involved, how many of them have actually had beef with Nick in like the last 6 months alone? You also have this element too. And I think, while Amy Dangerfield wouldn't fit that category, it would be people like Morgan Ariel and Jake Shields, although Jake's kind of cool with, you know, they kind of go back and forth. But Morgan Ariel was a great example. Like this woman's done nothing but attack continually over and over and over again. I think she actually completely snapped over his Epstein take because he wasn't willing to soy jack and clutch his pearls over all of the perceived, you know, sexual assault, you know, all the other material in there that's not fun material, if you will. And so you combine all of that, and then you have Muslims speaking and Doc's ICE leftists who are literally Democrats and are probably proud Democrats. It's this is not what America First is. And so it goes back to the same thing with what we always contended with Charlie Kirk with, which is you can't make the tent so big that it stands for nothing. Once you make the tent so big that now you're bringing in a bunch of homosexuals and the alphabet mafia and trannies, it's like, well, dude, what's the point? I mean, what even makes you different than the left at that point? It's the tent's gotten way too big.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where you know, you've talked a lot this week about like not starting brother wars, for example, and going off of that, you know, basically the issue I see with this conference as opposed to an AFPAC is with AFPAC, it is Nick Fuentes' conference. Yes, it's the America First Political Action Conference, but
Right.
Nick Fuentes is America First. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
And with this, it's almost like Amy Dangerfield is like, let's get a bunch of people that are kind of the same mind on like this one topic in a room together and just see how it goes. It's like there's no vision to it. It's like it's like a political sleepover.
Yeah.
And therefore, you know, people aren't as excited about it. They're not taking it as seriously. And then you get exactly what happened.
Right.
People,
And
technical problems because people just don't give a shit, you know, all this sort of stuff.
right. And you know, and I was trying to be optimistic yesterday. You know, I think it's funny because I remember this conversation, this exchange we had yesterday, because I think Elrax thought I was being a little too harsh on Amy Dangerfield. But even still, I was still saying, you know, you want to hope for the best, right? You don't want, well, you know, as much as I might have my qualms with it, let's hope for the best. Let's hope they, you know, they perform well, they speak well, they stand for what we want them to. But when you get the result that you get, it's like, it's kind of hard not to fall back to that and be like, see, this is why we don't, for one, this is why we don't let women speak publicly. But two, this is why we don't just like turn over, you know, command, or we walk out of the chain of command. And I think there is an element of, there's a lot of this that's ego. Like I think for a lot of these people, like they want, I wouldn't say a lot of them, but for some, like they want to be like the guy. They want to be the person. They want to be like the leader. And for me, like I have no problem sitting here and saying like, yeah, he speaks better than me. He is the movement. He is the, like, I have no problem saying I'm rooting for this guy to succeed. Like if he succeeds and he gets further along, we get further along. But some of them like don't see it like that. They hate that almost. Like they're like, well, where's my piece of the pie? I don't know. I don't get that kind of that mentality at all. But again, I think for a lot of them, it's not really about the end result of what it means to win for America and actually push the Overton window and push for Christian nationalism and push for the right thing. For them, it's how many more zeros can I add to my paycheck? What is the cool thing? What is the trending thing? What can I attach myself that ingratiates myself with the in thing now or the young and hip thing now? And I don't want to just levy accusations against a lot of people, but I'm extremely disappointed in the way that it did go down. And again, perhaps I may go a little bit too far in the coming days with some of this stuff, but I do think when you put yourself up to these positions, you need to be ready to be criticized, especially if you are going to cut under. You're going to basically take the name. I mean, what is Nick's show's name? America First. What would even be America First without Nick? Would it even exist? Would it even be that concept? Sure, Trump may have said it, but would somebody have molded it and smithed it, like taken it and like beaten it with a hammer over and over and over again, despite SPLC trying to kill the guy? And now on the other end, now we have accusations that, oh, he's a Fed. The SPLC was paying Nick to be a Nazi. Like, it's just all such bullshit. And when people do stuff like this, it really, it hollows it out. And it makes the movement look like it is a cash grab. So let's not do that. Let's actually be real, genuine, and authentic people, or otherwise, like, just please shut the fuck up and don't be a part of this. We don't need extra reasons for people to point and say, look at this being something that it's not. Let's have a political coalition that is meaningful, that people can get behind, that at the same time, it may be edgy, but it's not also going to be a hodgepodge of a bunch of loose nonsense ideas just because that person said, hey, I don't like Israel that one time. That's not the movement. The movement is Christ. The movement is America's interest at its heart, America first, and it is pushing back towards getting the patriarchy reinstalled, pushing back against this radical feminism, and above all, and not even above all, but also additionally, this race realism element, the idea that race is real, and not running away from that fact, but in fact engaging with it as the reality that it is. That's America first. If it falls outside of that, wear a different hat and walk your happy ass over to the McCain's house or something, because we don't want it at all, period. But I guess enough about that. I'll turn it back over to you, Josh.
I was just going to say real quick about it. It's funny because we talk about how politics has a theater kid problem where it's all failed actors. It's like every political activist these days is a failed actor. But what's funny is even in the acting world where they're literally actors, they're homosexuals. When they get in a movie, when they get a role in a movie, they're just excited to be there. Yeah, they may want to be the leading man, but if you're a side character, if you're an extra, most people are just happy to be there. But in the political game, it's like everyone wants to be the top dog. Everyone wants to cut the legs out from Nick or Tucker or Candace. You know what I mean? Alex Jones, and it's on our side. Even it's so cutthroat. You can't like sit down and be friends with anybody because if they're not on top, they're jealous, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, and you bring up a great point, which is that I think a lot of people they view the happenings and the political events across the spectrum as maybe, what's a good way to say this? Maybe too much in the political strategy sense. But I think you bring up a good example with the Hollywood example, which is to say, I think at a certain point when somebody is like a side character in politics, or say they're in the shadow of somebody, they might not think it at first, but say it's like 2, 3, 4 years now down the road, and they're still like, they haven't left this person's shadow, or or maybe like they've gotten worse because someone else has been doing better than them. They're viewed as like the better product, and a lot of it is competition, right? It's a competitive network. You can only watch so many hours of YouTube video a day for streaming and whatnot. And so you see these things, and perhaps they rise and they come and they go. Somebody could have been a friend for 3 straight years, and maybe all it took one time was the way that person's wife compared them to like their business partner, and it changed their mindset. Now they're enemies. There's all these subtleties that are involved with like the actual human condition, which is that we are all liable and basically, our own emotions are our own enemies sometimes, especially if you don't have a good self-discipline. So I think there's a lot more to it that goes into it than like this person plotted from the very beginning to always like up and come. It's like, not everything is a Hollywood movie. Sometimes people do just like do things because they're sometimes irrational, or sometimes they had like an emotional spike because their wife was being too much. They wouldn't wash the dishes or something. Who knows? Things like that happen too often. But the super chat, we're gonna start getting into some clips here. But LRX says, thank you for the super chat, LRX. We do appreciate it. He says, back in November, Nick said the movement has to be bigger than just him. How do we even accomplish that with other figures without the recipe for disaster? It's a good question. It's a tough thing. And I think that the way I kind of framed it yesterday is that regardless of what Nick wants or what any of us want, it's going like some things are just out of your control. So we can fight back and we can push back and say, no, you're not America first if you think this, but that doesn't stop them from saying no to you back. And so what you have here is because of the multi-generational run, the movement, regardless now, has grown. It's blown open into the mainstream. So you're going to have people who are going to take it and run with it, despite having no connection or relation to Nick. And so I think for as much as people might not want, they don't want the movement to become bigger than Nick or the Groypers. I think that's actually already left the box. I think that the Pandora's box has already been opened on that. And so it's not to say that I like it or want it by any means. I'm just saying it as a reality we're going to have to deal with from now on. Because take this, for example. What if Fishback does ultimately become this containment right figure that many people are fearful of? And I don't see it at all, but just hypothetically to engage with that. Well, he's going to say, no, in my idea of America first, we don't care about race realism. Okay, so who's going to stop him? Well, in all realities, Nick would probably come at and attack him and combat him. But Fishback's still going to have people in his camp who believe they're America first, and they're going to believe in Fishback's version over Nick's version. It's not to say that these are good things. It's to say that this is probably what we're going to be dealing with as time moves on, because it has left the bounds. You guys see the TikTok edits all the time with the girls who say they're America first, but what does that mean to them? to them, it means like this is the cool trending song on TikTok, and not to mention that there's another trending song that's like girls are like snapping their fingers, but the snap is the shot that killed Charlie Kirk. I don't know if you guys have seen this or not. It's now a trending thing. So girls will like be in one outfit, but then you hear the shot that killed Charlie Kirk. It's literally the audio from the moment. You can hear the screaming in the background. And then girls are like flipping their clothes around. So, there's a lot of things that will they will take on their own characters. They will become things bigger than what they were initially. And for a lot of people, that may be the first time they even interact with them. And so how do you handle it? How do you manage it? The same way you do and every other person does. Like by the gatekeeping, by the attacking, by the shaming, all the different utilities. So when Seth Dillon and Joel Berry doesn't want Nick and you and I to be a part of these movements, well, what do? They call them Nazis, they degrade them, they denigrate them. Sometimes they lie, they destroy your character. They do everything in their power to poison the well on that person. And that's just the way the game of politics is played. So it's and it's just like where we are now is it's because of the generational run, because everyone got Israel critical, and part of it because October 7th, 23 was such a just insane moment, and it got plastered all over X. This is where we are. We're just like 2 years downstream from that. And surely it'll probably take on more forms than what it is right now. But Josh, do you want to respond to that?
Yeah. And it's it's a bit of a white pill here, though, because we are talking about how it's so frustrating that people are they're really out for themselves in this movement. But you are starting to see a semblance of something real breaking through. So Nick Fuentes has been around for a decade, and you're starting to see with James Fishback, for example, that now it is entering into the political action aspect of the movement. And Nick Fuentes, he said it himself. He's kind of cheerleading James Fishback, but he doesn't want to get too in his corner. He mentioned it on Alex Jones, which we'll get into. He's like, I'm aware of people, but I don't want to mention them because I don't want them to be affiliated with me. And James Fishback is not disavowing Nick Fuentes. Now, if Fishback were to come out and completely say he endorsed, then he would be destroyed. Even we admit that, you know
Right.
what I mean? So you're seeing where Nick Fuentes is on a certain level, and James Fishback, I would argue, is on that same level. And all of the little infighting that we're seeing, that's almost like holdovers from the beginning of MAGA, from the Obama years. Even though those people aren't from that time, it's like the mentality of that time, which is going away. So yes, it's still a problem, and it has been a problem. And in a certain sense, it'll always be one. But there is, to address this super chat, the movement is becoming bigger.
Right.
Which is exciting.
It is. And this is actually, I mean, we wanted this, right? This was, when we
Right.
talk about the positive benefits of James Fishback echoing the rhetoric of Nick Fuentes, that's what we want. We want the Overton window to continue to be pushed. It is, like Ellerac says, it's a double-edged sword, which means it now opens itself up for other people to step in and then retell the story how they want to and say, this is actually my idea of America First, in which we're seeing the beginning of that too. The other side of it, though, is an actual double positive, which is if Fishback is successful, which it's looking like he will be, not only will he have ran a successful campaign, and will he have won and get into office, and the hope is that he continues to do that. It isn't just like running a campaign like how Trump did, but it's that now he's opened the channel for other politicians to look at that and they go, that's the winning message. Not this I love Israel
Yes.
bullshit, not this like let's all make everyone gay and paint rainbows or whatever they're doing. Who even knows what the left does, dude? They all need thrown into an ocean. And then but if Fishback wins, they go America first, Christ first. They go that's what we need to be doing. And then that will hopefully have a downstream effect where more and more politicians who want to run, who want to beat the incumbent, who want to beat the Lindsey Grahams of their worlds, they will go and they will echo the rhetoric of Fishback. And the hope is that it just basically sets off a chain reaction, which will be the idea being is hopefully that starts the organic Groyperification, America Firstification of the right wing. Now, Nick actually spoke at length yesterday, and he made a lot of good points too about all of the reasons why it's not inevitable. Actually, I think he mentioned this to Keith Woods in Rome, but he's making the
Right.
points here that there's still so many other control elements at hand. And you guys see this all the time. I bring it up all the time. The dissident right does not, we don't have financiers on our side. On this side, it's just like there's nothing that we have that's like major billionaire stepping in, right? The closest thing we've even gotten is Elon Musk, and I don't even know if you could call him center right. He's like some kind of transhumanist. Sure, he loves freedom, but I think he's still kind of liberal in his heart of hearts. And we did get downstream of positive effects from that. But it is on the other side of it, which is we don't have any financiers nearly at all. We're kind of still halfway stuck outside the systems. The one who are in are probably hiding their power level. But on the other side of it, it's like they have infinite money. Like, oh, this business failed. Well, let me buy the Free Press and Barry Weiss and let me install this person. Oh, the Daily Wire's failing. Okay, well, what if we rebrand it and then I rehire these 5 Jews over here too? So that's part of like what it is. Like there's still a huge amount of money that we have to compete with, which has basically an infinite ability to like resurrect and respawn more and more commentators who are like, no, they'll come out and say whatever. So they will try to resist. And I think that should be expected. Of course, they're going to try to resist. They're going to try to win this battle the same as we are trying to win this battle. But I think actually maybe that's probably a great clip to actually go to. That's actually right on cue. We haven't played a clip yet. We're about 30 minutes in. But I will play that one from Rome, and it is Nick talking specifically about why he thinks it's not inevitable, the Groyperification of the right. So here it is.
It's just inevitable that you're going to have basically a Groyper run right. Yeah, like Hanania is always writing about that, like the Groyperization of the right, that it's inevitable.
I don't think it's inevitable because I think that, time and again, the grassroots of the right are always politically outflanked by their leadership.
Yeah.
And that's because the leadership, well, it's like the casino. The house always wins. They are the masters of politics. They've been winning and running electoral races for, in some cases, a half of a century. And so marketing, messaging, playing to the crowd, that is their bread and butter. And it just goes to show that even somebody like Trump, a hostile, subversive outsider, they even know how to manipulate him. Even if they can't make the appeal to the audience, they can make the appeal to the guy that appeals to the audience. And that's again why you really need a political master. You need a true Machiavellian, is what is missing. We need a true dark triad, benevolent Machiavellian, a benevolent master who can truly ascend and instrumentalize those forces. Otherwise, it can't happen. It's like you know, it's like they say, it's that classic construction of the king, the aristocracy, and the populace. We need that coalition. We need the king and either the populace or the aristocracy. But, you know, we need the king to be on side. And that's kind of what we're missing right now.
Do you want to take a left and drive around the Vatican?
Yeah.
So that was basically the portion of the clip I wanted to play. Hopefully, Josh is back. Can you hear me? You can hear me
Yeah,
okay?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
No, I cannot hear you.
Oh,
Let's get this.
what?
Looks like Josh is having some technical issues. I will I'll pull him back on here in a second. Let me get rid of this here. This is what I wanted, the legation of the right wing. That is a portion of it. But the overall being really that this is, it's not inevitable. Although all the signs and the writing is on the wall that we are getting closer and closer. The stream can hear Josh. Interesting. Okay. So stream can hear you. Try talking again, Josh.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
That's interesting.
Hello?
Hold on a second.
Why am I huge now? Yeah,
There we
I
go.
tried to
Wow.
move.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I tried to move my frame a little bit. I tried to shift my frame, and all the audio went out for me. So I
That's
had to
funny.
refresh. My bad.
No, you're good. But no, your thoughts. Could you see the did you see the video?
I caught bits and pieces. That was the one where he was talking about how Trump is not the guy, how he was always kind of intended to be the why can I not
Just that,
remember?
yeah.
John the
Trump,
Baptist. John the Baptist.
yeah, right. Yeah, that Trump's not enough, and that ultimately
Yeah.
still we do need like this kind of benevolent kind of individual. Someone who's going to do the
Yes.
mass deportations and be unafraid of actually accomplishing that. And I think ultimately though still like I think we're still a couple years away culturally from that being felt. I think we're probably still many more Nick Shirley, unfortunately, many more Nick Shirley and Tyler Oliveira fraud videos away from getting to that level of the average person feeling that way, you know, being willing to vote for Hitler, if you will. I think a lot of us are already there. A lot of us are already ready to vote for Hitler on a ticket. But I think we need, you know, a couple more years of seeing how many more Hasidic Jew communities are taking full advantage of the welfare program. I think will actually probably be what does it in. And you know, the Rome stuff was kind of funny too. You know, while they were in Rome, there were some funny clips that came about this, which was the "you forgot my fries" portion of it. I thought that was funny. I think the best meme I saw of this entire thing was actually when Keith Woods posted one himself, which said something that is, "No one remembers the burgers you gave them. They only remember the fries you forgot." It's like, dude, it was so good. And it's, you know, part of the reason why you know, you love Keith Woods, and I think he's great. Was there any other clip you really wanted to play from the Rome trip?
From the Rome trip, I not really, to be honest. I did remember on the Rome thing, because if you recall when this all started, Nick Fuentes, he had kind of called out of doing the show because he was sick, and then all of a sudden Keith Woods is posting that they're in Rome. And I don't know about you, but I was thinking, I was like, oh man, here it comes. All the like gay jokes, all of that. And sure
Yeah.
enough, you know, like flies to shit, there it was. When in
Yeah.
Rome, all that kind of stuff.
Right. Well, I think it was funny. I didn't see much about the like Keith and him. I saw more about the Candace Owens. You know, the Candace Owens and Nick, right? They're going out and having a romantic meeting. The one girl though, because Candace actually did meet up with somebody. Her name is like Aubrey Latich or something like that. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. And I don't really know who she is, to be honest with you. But supposedly they met up together.
Aubrey Latich.
Yeah, something. Who knows? She's a woman. Anyways, she posted a photo, and it was funny because it was like her and Candace riding some like, you know, one of those little like gay speeder bikes they have in Italy or something. And she AI added Nick Fuentes in the back, and he's like got like a thumbs up, like facing the camera. And the reason why she posted it was because Laura Loomer and her literally batshit insane self, she went on and said, it's something to the effect of like, I'm just speculating here, but does anyone else find it odd that Aubrey and Candace and Nick leave when the SPLC indictment drops? You know, and she's trying to push it and attach it. And so Aubrey, I think the quote said something to the effect of, I'm sorry to bring you into this, Nick. And it just has Nick on the back of this stupid speed bike. But that's what these people are. You know, they lie, they cheat, and they steal. And I cannot wait for the day that Laura Loomer is not in the position that she is in. Cannot wait. I cannot stand Laura Loomer. She is a vile, disgusting human male.
Dude, I was shocked to learn she was like 32 or something like that. Like, dude, I know.
That means I want you to know right now that means she is only 2 years older than me.
That's what I'm saying, dude. She's 4 years older than me. She she looks like a shovel face, like artificial
Shovel face.
like you know what I mean? Like it looks like titanium rods underneath her cheeks or whatever.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
like
true.
she looks like when people wear masks in movies that like where it's like a whole new face on top of their face, where like their head it looks realistic, but their head is like twice the size of a human head. That's what Laura Loomer looks like.
Yeah, I think the jigsaw ones are great. That's kind of the vibe I get. Like the high cheekbones and like the the swirlies on them. I just kind of think like if you were able to like shrink down Laura Loomer and like make two of her, do you know how well you could climb a mountain? Like just using your nose, like I could scale Everest. I'd break the record. They'd be like, "How did you do it?" You're like, I can't tell. Family secret, dude.
You like Omni-Man, you like have the back of her head and you just shove it into the like ice wall, and then you're like climbing.
You could literally find the center of the earth using her nose, dude. It's like the one thing that can break through the ether at the bottom of the earth. Like we found the one thing. Yeah. Okay, you know,
it's
not
sharper than
rude.
diamonds.
Yeah, well, on a real note though, while we're on Laura Loomer, just for a second, I don't know if you've seen how much she's been posting about this, but she got married recently, and the post she put out, I think it was yesterday or like yesterday morning, it makes you feel like this guy isn't even a real person. It's so over the top. It's like, you know, who would have known that my soon-to-be husband and I would have sat next to each other and I would have found my husband on an airplane, and you know, it just happened to be, and it was like this long, like, and she ends it with like, and yes, life can be a Hallmark movie. It's like, dude, there's no way this is real. You know, at least maybe she's making half of it up. But anyways, enough about Laura Loomer. We don't need to scare the children. There is a couple stuff from Monday that I wanted to get into though, and I think Monday addressed kind of two large things. Well, three large things actually. The reason why the thumbnail is what it is today is because when Nick came back, he kind of really laid it out to people like, I was this close to retiring, you know, like, you know, the CNN Groypers about did me in, which is funny because I made a post about that like 2 weeks ago, and like the CNN guys were doing it, which is, I said, like, I'm personally holding AF Deplorable like accountable for Nick disappearing. And, you know, it seemed to play a role. Luckily, Bradley Martin called him. Bradley Martin said, no, world needs you, man. Said, Nick, if you leave right now, it's over for us. And luckily, Bradley Martin was a good guy, and he made that call. And there are two other things that he made mention of. The first was the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting and all of the kind of just nonsense that surrounds that. The kind of, we're in the middle of a war, but also here's zero security for our president. Iran's been after Trump for some time. We're in the middle of a war, but also watch how this light-skinned weirdo gay guy can run. And if he would have had anything beyond a shotgun, who knows what he could have done, right? I think the top comment on that event is the fact of if he had anything else, had he had an IED or some other kind of explosive device or anything, you know, beyond that, what else could he have? Who else could he have done? What kind of damage could he really have done to the executive branch? I think many people look at that, and that's a big reason for why they find it really hard to believe it even happened the way they said it happened, amidst many other governmental things that is already hard to believe that's happening. And the other element was some of the SPLC addressing, but he did a majority of that on Tuesday, I do believe. But the one I do want to play is about the event, and it gives Nick's take on the idea that we could have lost half of the presidential cabinet during that event. So here's this clip. Or not that. This side. We're getting there. We are getting there.
another case of the Secret Service being completely incompetent. How is this even possible? I think that's really almost the only thing that you can say about this specific incident is how is it even possible? Like I said, think about the situation that we are in. We are in a state of war. And it is true that the Ayatollah of Iran declared a fatwa against the United States and called on all the martyrs and all the believers to attack the United States, which makes this a high-risk environment. It's also true that the president has been told, and law enforcement and intelligence agencies have also said, that potentially Trump was being targeted by Iran from the beginning. I think that's Israeli propaganda. However, this is something that our own intel law enforcement agencies have independently said. So you think about the situation, we're at war. The Ayatollah has called on his supporters to attack us. Law enforcement and the intelligence community have said there's an active Iranian threat against the president, whether you believe that or not. They have said that in the past for years. And yet somehow somebody was able to check into the hotel where the entire cabinet would be, not just the president, with 2 loaded guns and 3 knives. And he wasn't apprehended until he, bum rushed the escalator to actually break into the room? How is that even possible? And you have to ask yourself, what if he had a bomb? What if he had a pipe bomb in his suitcase instead of a loaded gun? What if he had some kind of a device, whether that's a nail bomb or a dirty bomb or who knows, a chemical agent? If this was a more sophisticated attacker, this could have been a catastrophe. This would have been a mass casualty event. You're not talking about just potentially wiping out half of the cabinet, including the president and vice president, but also all these people in attendance. And what would we be saying at this point if it was some kind of a suicide bomber? Again, if it was anything even a little bit more sophisticated than a couple of close-range firearms and some knives, and some knucklehead idiot who thought he was just going to literally bum rush the checkpoint, it'd be a very different story. How is this possible? Especially, how is it possible? Again, even the situation with Iran and everything else notwithstanding, how is it possible after there have already been 2 assassination attempts against the president? It doesn't bode well.
It doesn't bode well. So, Josh, your thoughts. What are your overall thoughts with the White House Correspondents' Dinner, that whole situation? What's his name? Cole Allen? Cole Anthony? Who knows? Who cares? He's black anyways. What are your thoughts?
It is kind of funny because Nick said a bit is like this has like already been memory hold, but it's not one of those things where it was like intentionally covered up. It was just like nobody cared.
Right.
Like it just like happened and it was whatever. Trump didn't care. Nobody cared. And here's one thing. Rather than responding directly to the clip, this is one thing I wanted to say about the actual event.
Yeah.
I was a little bit surprised that JD Vance did not get more flack for his hasty exit out of it. You know what I mean? Like basically it went down, and I'm not saying, you should, like, the vice president or president shouldn't be rushed out quickly, but like everyone else was just like,
yeah,
sitting in their chair, and JD Vance was hauling ass out of there, dude.
Yeah. Well, I guess
that just kind of got swept under the rug.
So I saw some people actually commented on that, but the ire didn't go to Vance. The ire went to the Secret Service, which was like them commenting on why was the vice president the first person they went for instead of the actual president. Because that seemed to be what it was, right? It was like the Secret Service agents like rushed to Vance and like yanked him by the arm, and he ends up, going off of the center right stage or the right-handed side of the stage. And Donald Trump was like, I think there was a couple of frames where Trump, like everyone else is reacting and Trump doesn't. I wouldn't look at that as like he knew it was going to happen. I think maybe he was just be an old guy. Maybe he didn't hear it the same way everybody else did. I think there's easier explanations than like it's, that was like the signal that Trump was like waiting for to act or something like that. I guess in my head, the one thing I did think of was like, is there different protocol? Like, or Is it all one Secret Service group, or does JD Vance have his own like 3 or 4 guys, his Secret Service detail, and Trump has their own? And were the guys in JD Vance's security detail just better, smarter, faster reacting? And this has been a
What it
common
looked
theme.
like to me,
Go ahead.
what it looked like to me is JD Vance, he was not sitting directly next to Donald Trump. He was like 5 seats over. He was actually pretty close to the edge of the stage already.
Yeah.
And what happened was, I actually think the Secret Service, it's not that his detail was more prepared or better. It was just like, because if you see what happened, they really kind of treated him and Trump the same way, where they just ran to them and like grabbed them, got in front of them. And what happened was, because if you look, some guy comes up to JD Vance and like grabs his shoulder. And
Yeah.
when that happens, JD Vance launches up and runs off stage.
Right.
And then they followed him. You know what
Right.
I mean? It,
Right.
it wasn't like, come here, get out, get off the stage. It was like they were kind of like, okay, what do we do? And then he left, and they're like, oh, well, okay, we're with him.
Yeah.
You know, and Trump, you know, he's an old guy, and he just kind of like sombers out, and they're just like shielding him because, you know, the guys inside, they don't know what's going on either, so they're not in a rush to get him in any particular direction because it's just chaos at that point.
And
At least that was my takeaway.
yeah, and I think you could be right. Like, I think there is an element of perhaps like they thought on their way to Trump, they'll tap Vance, right? Like it could have been something like that. Like maybe, but again, it's chaotic. They can't expect everybody to think correctly, although that's what they're there for. Secret Service, you would expect if you're in the Secret Service, you're brought in there because of your ability to be cool under pressure. But this is the theme I was going to get at, which is this is recurring now between, Butler and many other instances now, which is the Secret Service just utterly seems entirely incompetent. I mean, but this matches the rest of the branches too. And I mean, with Kash Patel in charge of the FBI, it's no surprise to anybody that literally nothing's happening or everyone's just being retarded. And that's kind of like what I think is hard to believe, though. And so I kind of have a couple of different thought processes about it. One is I find it incredibly hard to believe that it's incompetency at this point. Like very, very hard to believe it's incompetency. The other side of me, though, goes, is this then indicative of there being truth behind the idea that there actually is like split kind of like leadership? Like, because there's been comments coming out of Dan Bongino and I think maybe to a lesser extent, Kash Patel, but seemingly Dan Bongino, that there's like 2 FBIs, or is this all where the criticism goes to strengthen their argument about there being like deep state bureaucrats inside the FBI that they just can't do anything about, and it's their way to try to explain away the incompetence? Because I mean, if this is incompetence and this is what you can expect from here on out, from like your highest, like one of the highest positions, like the highest bodyguard position in all of the world is to be a part of the Secret Service. And if that's what you can expect from America's Secret Service, then I mean, like it's a huge joke. And I think if anything, that's just maybe the cherry on top. That's a reflection of look how incompetent every other branch is too. Like their guys' job is simple. It's protect the president, carry out security protocol, and set up security checkpoints and ensure and detail everything. Sniper lookouts, you see the locations, you get the details planned, you get the location details, weeks in advance sometimes. You have plenty of time to scope it out and do all of this. But then you're repeatedly met with just these absurd and grotesque violations or like misuses of responsibility or accountability, and you end up with these situations where there's like one security checkpoint and the guy was like, had he had a hand grenade, who would have known how close he would have gotten, what would have happened then? I would say there's a downside to it that's, well, just this last point, the downside to it would be that it's kind of reset the clock on a lot of the conspiracy theories now. And so now you're going to see a lot of these like crazy ass kind of like, well, I think that this guy actually is like, that's Q. And what he was actually doing, and it's like, holy shit, dude. And it's like, it makes you like want to log off forever and then go grab your 9mm and admire the inside of the barrel.
Well, as much as I hate to say it, is the Secret Service of 2026 is not the Praetorian Guard. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're not the like
Really?
Emperor Palpatine's like Red Guard or whatever. They're
We need that though.
dude, for real. But I think it is just like incompetence at this point. It's the same reason you have all these evil bastard judges. If that was Josh who ran in there, he would have got the job.
No, cracking me up, dude. I was hoping you could read it.
I don't get what he means though. If I was the Secret Service?
No, if it was you who tried to
if
run
I
it,
were the terrorist,
Yeah.
if I were the killer,
they'd have been like, this guy's clearly Jewish. He's giving Trump a
that's
hug.
why yeah. See, it's like that's why I haven't been losing the weight. I needed the natural shielding from like 18 Secret Service women who miss.
Yeah.
But it was just in case.
Wouldn't that be something? They're all women and every single shot missed. Like then you actually have like you have the stormtroopers from Star Wars.
Dude, it literally is. Literally is. That's crazy.
Literally hitting everything but the target.
That was crazy. The dude didn't even get shot.
No, the Secret Service guy did. Did you see
I
that?
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I saw that they were talking about friendly fire. I'm like, wait, what? And then I could read into it, and it's like, yeah, the guy like it was like his leg got blown open, but it was because one of the other Secret Service agents shot at him. It's like, dude, it's so like, it's such a joke. And but I guess not to really bury the lead in it. I think the most notable element of it was how in the seconds thereafter it was ballroom. Anybody? It was like an hour later. They're holding a press conference, and they're like, guys, this is why we needed the ballroom. It's like what?
Yeah.
Wait, what is going on? And I think like most people, it's just puzzling and confused. And I think now everybody's like, well, at first I didn't really care about the ballroom. Now I'm wondering what aliens you're storing down there. Like, the Palantir master room is going to be built down there? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, like how many child sacrifice altars are in the basement of that place? Like, is Epstein's blood jacuzzi been transported from Little St. James to DC? Like, it's
That's where Charlie Kirk will live forever. This is like Charlie Kirk's new home. We'll keep him protected down here, dude.
No, it's literally like Jeffrey Epstein is in like an incubation tank, like they're regrowing a new Jeffrey Epstein under the ballroom or something.
You get down there and it's like it's Kirk, it's Maduro, and Epstein, and like they're all like they're all like the two, like they're floating, like they're recovering, like it's Goku as a Super Saiyan. They're like, only months now we'll be able to bring them back out.
Oh my goodness.
They take Epstein off
he's
ice.
bald because his hair hasn't grown in yet,
They take they take Epstein off ice. He like immediately, as soon as he comes to, he was like, all right, back in business in his gay little Jewish voice. Dude, we should make a movie about this.
Okay, back in business.
Yeah, you can do it better than I can.
Oh my gosh.
I'm still kind of mind blown from when I first heard him talk on that Bannon interview.
Same, dude. Like, I remember the only time I had heard Epstein talk before that was like in the where he was getting read his Miranda rights when he got arrested back in 2005, and it was on camera, and he was like, it was literally, he just said his name. He was like Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
And I don't know, he sounded like he had kind of a normal, cool guy voice. I was blown away that he had a super Jewy voice.
That's funny. It is. I mean, it's true though.
Kind of let me down, to be honest.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Instant aura.
Let's be honest, he had aura, but he lost a little bit that day.
Yeah, I know. And if people haven't seen the interview, they definitely need to. You get a lot of insight into actually just kind of who he was just from the interview alone.
But to your point and Nick's about the ballroom thing, I even I posted my monthly tweet where I said, what are the chances that we use this to crush our enemies? And then literally just like right after was, this is why we need a ballroom. It's like,
yeah,
we are so unserious. I want to kill myself. It is
in Minecraft,
dude. Yeah, what are they going to come after me for trying to kill me?
They probably will.
But think about it. And our people are being attacked. Charlie Kirk got his head blown off, and we will not raise a finger to these people. And you know what it is? You know what a vast majority of it is? The Jews aside, it's the boomers that worship minorities, that have a fantasy that if we can just convince black people that they're on the Democrat plantation, that then black people will vote Republican for eternity.
Yeah.
Ooh, dude.
Because for a lot of them, race is the altar. You know, race is the altar. It's actually where they go to worship, is the altar of race. Have I bequeathed enough of my resources to the black man, dear sir? You know, it's like they go to the altar one more. They're like, I will sacrifice any of my children. Just don't call me racist. It's like, I mean, it's like literally, that's like the level we're dealing with. It's rather unfortunate. I wanted to play though some bit about the SPLC, and that is one of the other kind of stories that was also not, it was addressed by Nick, but it kind of fell out of the news cycle largely because Nick wasn't even here to address it. And again, the evidence was extremely weak. Richard Spencer was on top of it early on, which was that really there's only like one informant that they had even in the evidence that was paid. There's connections to others, but it was rather weak, and it seems like it's really not gone anywhere. And if it did have teeth, you would have expected Laura Loomer to have been sitting there beating you in the fucking face with it for 10 days straight. But she didn't, because ultimately it was kind of weak to stand on its own. So here's Nick addressing it on Monday, I do believe. Here's this clip right here.
Comes out and everybody says that I'm being paid by the SPLC. This is the new line from Laura Loomer. This is a new line from the MAGA influencers. They say that since I'm supporting the Democrats in the midterms, and since I don't support Trump, that I'm like some kind of operative or something like that. And I'll address that. I'll get into that. But it just never gets, it never changes, does it? It never gets better. It's always, if it's not January 6th, now it's this. It took all of, I think, 5 minutes. People didn't even read the indictment. They heard the story and then they said, oh, it's Nick Fuentes is one of the guys. And I had to go on Twitter and remind everybody, do you know currently, and you can Google this yourself, if you Google Nick Fuentes SPLC, they are the ones that doxed my fucking house. So do you remember like a year ago, roughly about a year and a half ago, when a 23-year-old guy came to my house with a gun to try to kill me? And over 100 people came to my house trying to fight me, trying to kill me, throwing eggs at my house, doing things like that. That happened because the SPLC doxed my house at the height of the Kanye 2024 campaign. They posted a picture of my house on their website. They came to my house. They knocked on the door. They interviewed my neighbors. They posted what floor I live on. They said he lives on this floor. This is when you can find him. This is what he does. All he does is leave his house and go to the garage. We talked to all his neighbors. And they posted a picture of my house on their website. That is in addition to, they doxed my assistant about a year before that. They doxed a couple of my interns that were working on Capitol Hill. They got me banned from D Live, which was the only streaming platform I had before Cozy and Rumble. People don't realize I was in a war with the SPLC, Right Wing Watch, Media Matters, ADL, and still am, and have been for a decade. This story comes out and people go, oh, he's with the SPLC. I guess nobody told them that when they doxed my address and almost got me murdered. But
And in addition to that as well, too, there was also, I believe they also interviewed his neighbors as well. They like also involved some of the people who live near him too. And again, this is who apparently, is paying Nick to, to be a white nationalist or whatnot, even though he's, very, very much nuanced beyond this, the neo-Nazi tag that everybody, including the New York Post and everyone else, wants to attach to him. One thing I would also say too, if you are here, make sure you definitely smash the like button. It does help the channel tremendously and helps push out the stream to even more potential Groypers. And so And here you will not be talked to by a woman. We actually disallow that. Women are not allowed to speak within a 50-mile radius of me. That's a personal rule of mine. But in all seriousness, to keep people from falling into the trap of the ego-driven idea of America first, this kind of skin suiting of America first, we got to really prevent that from happening and continuing. Although it probably will happen, we have to make sure we can minimize it and contain it as much as we possibly can, because we need this movement to actually be successful and not turn into another, what do you want to call it? Another just sad, shameful scam like MAGA. And so let's do our best and have our diligence and vigilance to prevent that from happening. No e-girls, not even once, and that is not even negotiable. Don't even try. Trying to negotiate on e-girls, instant ban. Instant ban. You'll get deported, actually. You think e-girls are cool? Great. We're going to go find a spot 3,000 feet in the ocean and put you in a container and lock the box, and we'll see if you can get out. Newsflash, you won't be able to. Okay.
And if you're talking to women that you know from like videos online, if a woman has an online presence, turn the other way. Get away from them.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if she's posting cooking videos. You're better off with anyone else. Get out of there.
Your mom likes photos on Facebook? Banned. Gone. You follow a woman? Banned. We catch you within a mile of a woman? Banned. We'll just make it super restrictive. That way it's only going to be gay men left, and that's what we wanted. No, just kidding. That's a complete joke.
Absolutely.
Don't read into that.
I did actually, while that clip was playing, for the first time, I looked up the article he was referring to on SPLC. It's still up there, and it does have a picture of his house still up.
Well, he moved since then, I do believe.
Since this whole situation?
Not since this situation.
The killer?
But that initial article, because the article came out in 2018, I do believe, right?
This says December 19, 2022.
Interesting. Okay.
And it has the picture of his house that's on there. It looks like the one in the video.
Interesting.
Now it's the picture in the article is like taken. It's like a street view, and it's like of the front door. Whereas in the Ring camera, you're seeing like the side,
right?
But it's the same house. I'm pretty sure.
Interesting. Yeah, maybe they've done it multiple times now at this point. I do believe he did say, though, he moved after the first time they did it. So maybe they just don't. I mean, I would get tired of having to move every time, these rabid leftists came to my door and took a photo of me, which is, again, this is what we have to deal with. This is what you are going to have to deal with. Not everybody, but many people in different forms and fashions. And for those who are more prominent, you can expect to get more of this, and people just showing up at your house and like that was like one of the big things of notation. And I think it was it Smilly Balls who put that in the chat earlier on my stream yesterday, which was all of this talk about, here's how, look how he pushes someone off the porch. You even have Andy No, right? Andy No, of all people. This guy's face has been disfigured by these stupid leftists. Andy No commented on the video and said excessive use of violence. I think he responded to Tim Pool's quoting of the video of him pushing Marlo Rose off of his porch. And Andy No is someone who's literally had his face, like, they put cement in milkshakes and beamed them at his head. This guy almost died to these insane leftists on the West Coast. And he goes, excessive use of violence. That's how much these people hate the actual true, in the pure form of the idea of America first. This Andy No, and it's been multiple times. I think even at one point he got his face burnt by something. So he's had plastic surgery done to help, refigure him. And that guy, seeing another one of these deranged leftists going to Nick's front door, just weeks, if not a month, removed from when another guy showed up to his door after killing 3 people to try to kill Nick. He looks at what Nick does and goes, excessive use of violence. I would even wager that Andy No thinks that Nick should have done and served time. If Andy No can hear this, and I hope he does, fuck you. Who cares about your work on the West Coast if it means you're going to be a literal homosexual with it? It means nothing to me, dude. And that was so disappointing to see from Andy No, to somebody who's willing to put himself in the fire of getting the coverage, but because he thinks Nick's a Nazi or whatever the hell he thinks. He wants, you know, further bad things to happen. Fuck you. That's what I think about Andy No. Anything else on this?
Well, and it just goes to show you these situations. It's nice that Nick got acquitted. I don't know. The case got dropped, but like it's the anarcho tyranny. Like they can come to your house, they can terrorize you, and what you see the video of him pushing the woman off his porch, but what you don't see is all the other attempts where people are coming to his house. You know, you don't know if it's going to be like the guy who showed up with a crossbow and a gun. And then if you do anything, they're going to throw the book at you. Look at Paul Miller. He was attacked by Antifa. They tried to kill him. He is, he's a yoked dude. He beat the shit out of them and he went to jail for that.
Right.
It's ridiculous. We live in hell, dude.
Of course we live in hell. You know, and I think that people really need to and I think a lot of people actually do grasp this, but you see it with Daniel Penny, you've seen it with Rittenhouse, you've seen it with time and time and time and time again. Like it doesn't matter what your case is. If you are a white Christian male, and Daniel Penny gets off because it's like he's like not a prominent like influence or whatever. Like he gets at least the caveat or the element that he's just kind of just a guy now being made into a public figure. But if it were to happen to Chud the Builder at this point, he's not going to get the benefit of the doubt. If it happens to somebody like Beardson, not going to get the benefit of the doubt. If it happens to me, probably not going to get the benefit of the doubt. And it's all because that's the tiers of justice. It's you get a whole different set of rights and rules and subtleties if you are a white American. And even furthermore, if you're a prominent and outspoken white Christian American, they will make you suffer. And that's part of the intended effect. They want you to shut up. They want you to be demoralized. They want you, they expect you to get back in line, you good little dog. And it is up to you to not be treated that way. It's up to you to not let things happen like that. It's not to say making stupid decisions and putting yourself out there and encouraging violent things to happen, but it is to say you need to carry that with you for every decision you make, to have discernment and wisdom to go, I will know when to not raise my fist because I know that they will try to utterly rape me in my life if I'm caught on camera even halfway out of context even if I have all of defenses in the world, these people will seek it out to try to destroy you. Meanwhile, you can be some black 90-time, criminal who's literally revolving door, beating women in and out, and you'll get like a 2-week sentence. The system just, you're such a victim. It went after you so hard because of your black skin color, and it's such bullshit. So you need to understand what the rules of the game are. It doesn't mean that I think they're fair. It doesn't mean I like them. But it is to say you need to carry yourself with the understanding of what this kind of, what the system is, what the rules actually are. When I move over to, I guess, Tuesday, go a little bit further along. The Tuesday one, I guess, I actually want to go to Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? Where are the ring edits while we're on this? Let's just go ahead and run through the ring edits.
Okay, the ring footage, that's Wednesday.
Is it Wednesday? Oh, you're right. There we go. Okay, so
I have them in Wednesday. Because that's when they kind of came out, I think.
Yes, you just want to just run through all of these? These are all safe to play, I hope.
Yeah. They're all safe to play.
Okay. So I guess I'll give a little bit of explainer. There was, when the video released after the case was dismissed, and maybe some of you didn't see this, the video of the ring camera of the actual confrontation was released onto X, so it just was publicly released. And what many people did with it was they immediately took it to the first AI generator they could and started making their own variations of what actually went down there. And so we're going to run through a couple of them that are funny. We'll play the original one first, and then we'll go down and look at a couple of these.
No, okay, so to be clear, the play both camera angles because that has the ring and the video from that woman's phone.
Interesting. Okay, yeah. We'll do both camera angles. All right. Get it queued up.
Hi. Oh my God! What are you doing? Oh, look out of here. Did you catch that? Did you catch that? God. Oh my God.
So I want you to know I didn't see that one. I've not seen the side by side angle with both of them. I haven't seen that one yet. Yeah, that was cool to
Have
see.
you've seen the original one though, the one that was released back when it happened, of when he takes the phone kind of
Yeah,
inside with him?
Yeah. I saw her cell
Dude,
phone
that-
angle. Yeah.
That was so funny too. It's so ominous when he like reaches down.
I know.
It just goes black.
What's
Oh,
funny because it's
dude.
like when he right after he pushes her, he's like, "Fuck out of here, dude." It's like once he's walking
Yeah,
back
yeah.
up, that would be something I would say if I was in that moment. I would probably say worse. That would probably give me a worse trouble. But what do you expect? You know, some person's clearly sitting outside of your home. They have a camera pointed at your door, and this is like, and again, I forget how long or how far removed it was, but it wasn't long from the last time somebody showed up to his door trying to literally kill him. So, you know, and then what's the expectation? I open my door and just pull my pants down, stick it in, coach. Like what? Like no, of course. Like I'm gonna like you're going to get off of my porch. You and let's be honest too. There's no thinking required. You say a fat behemoth woman like that, automatically you know she's a leftist, because no woman like that exists on the right wing, at least not in great numbers. So when you see something like that, your first thought is like, this woman's going to try to do something to me. And he was correct.
Well, and something that I pointed out on Outside the Overton with Zeb, when you look at the actual like the new footage, the sort of ring angle, the like upward angle footage, you can tell this is an FAFO moment, because when he opens the door, she had such a typical girl reaction, which is because you can see she's like filming, and then like when he opens the door, she like, you know, she's like startled by the fact that he came out,
Yeah.
and immediately, like it was her fight or flight response was like, "Hi, I'm just a girl." You know,
Yeah.
it was like, "Oh, what's up? Hey, I'm just it's me,
Yeah.
your Uber." You know, like
Yeah,
like
right.
it was trying to disarm it, which is so typical. You know,
Yeah.
because you know, when you watch the cop body cam footage, she's talking about how this is probably what got the case thrown out, is she said that she was there because he was Doc. She basically admitted to going there to harass him.
Yeah.
So you know, it's not like a, oh, you know, peaceful thing. Like it's so typical that some bitch is gonna roll up, and then as anything happens, they curl up into a ball, and ooh, I'm Betty Boop, I'm just a girl.
Yeah. Well, and also it doesn't help that even it catches on the ring camera when she turns around to, I'm assuming her husband or somebody in that vehicle, and she says, "Did you catch that?" Meaning that there was a second filmer ready for an interaction to be caught on camera. So I think that does imply a bit of orchestration and preparation and knowingness that like something may have occurred that she wouldn't have expected. This next one says GTA. I know what the MK one is. I saw
Yeah.
that one. I'm curious what the GTA one is. Let's go ahead and play this one. Here's
Okay. Pretty typical.
Next up.
But yeah, go ahead.
What are you doing?
Okay, that was pretty
So
funny.
okay.
That was pretty
Pretty
funny.
classic. And
Yep.
I like the like it works so well with her, like when she hits the ground and goes like, "Oh," like
Yeah, I know.
and then it just
Yeah.
goes wasted. That's her soul leaving her body, dude.
Right. Well,
That's the health bar going down.
right. Well, you have Marla interview and Nick interview in here. What are these?
I think those are the body cam footages. But so have you seen
Okay.
go to the one, okay, y'all are gonna hate me for this one, but the one that's just all periods,
Okay.
do that one.
Let's do
Do
it.
that one first.
Dude, like this is what I mean when like why Josh doesn't tell me anything. And I
Yeah.
asked if this stuff was safe to play, and it's like, sure. But it's like if I would have known what was on that
Yeah.
video, I would have not have played that video.
I knew,
So-
and that's why.
So apologies. Yeah, disciplinary action for Josh. Somebody call the president. We have a problem.
Somebody better bum rush Zeb's studio with a shotgun. You might have better luck than Thomas Cole or whatever his name was.
Right? Somebody said the real footage.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But to me, that one, I hadn't seen that one before until last night. And that's why I labeled it like it was all periods, because I was like, what the hell? What
Yeah,
are people
right.
doing?
What is that?
Oh, man.
That's
See,
funny.
so, yeah, Nick interview and Marla interview, those are like the cop body cam footage.
Interesting. Okay. Well, MK, I know what this one is. This is the Mortal Kombat one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
let's
one
do
was
that
good. Let me move this one. Put Mortal Kombat up. Like for me, it's the thud on the car. It's like
yeah, the sound
thud
effects are so
Yeah.
good.
It's like, dude,
And her like, oh, when she's kicked the second time, you know.
I'm wondering, like, did the AI make those sound effects? You know, like, because sometimes if you use Grok, Imagine, it adds the sound effects in there, or did that person like actually make it, get a soundless video, and then take the time to add in the sound effects afterwards? It's like, okay, that's a that's props to that one.
Dedication.
The 6 million and one is that okay? What we can't play is we can't play any of the ones where like she's on the ground and he's like beating her with the bat. So if that's the one,
It's not that one. I don't. This one is the one where he takes her into the house. Have you seen that one?
no.
Play it, dude.
Bro.
Play it.
No, I know what you're talking about, and no, no, I'm not playing that
With
one.
the oven where he puts her in the oven.
Yeah, when he puts her in the oven, he like drags her through the house, and then he like
Yeah.
pulls her up into the oven, and then he tries to shut it. Like, it's crazy. No, no,
Oh man, 6
Funny.
million and one.
funny, but we I don't think we need to give a full blown reason to get taken off the platform. That would like I don't even know.
Fair enough.
The part of the reason why is because it's actively monetized right now, and I don't want to have a monetized content. I just want to play with it. Zeb gives us
I
enough
love-
reasons to not be on air, so we got to pull it
I
back a
love
little
though
bit.
in the video where he beats her up and he takes her in his house and he puts her in the oven. I love it when he like puts her feet puts her feet in the oven. You know, he like pretzels her into the oven and like he like sets her feet. You know, like he's adjusting a pan in the
Yeah, so he
It's
can like get the
it was,
door
like,
shut.
Such an
Yeah.
unnecessary detail that just like it was the cherry on top, dude. It was so funny.
Well, the AI was told put in oven. And so the AI said, "This is how you put stuff in the oven." That was hilarious. And those edits were great. There were some that were like I saw some that was like, I don't even know how you get the AI to generate that. Like, how do you get past the
Right?
safety considerations on there? You know what I mean? Because some of them were like X was automatically censoring them. Like, I couldn't even click on them until you click past like the censor warning to be able to watch it. And like the one was like literally, it's just 6 seconds of Nick. She's already laying on the ground, and Nick just has a bat. He's like, boom, boom, boom. Like it just for 6 straight seconds, just beating. I'm like, I can't even get the AI to generate like an angry Jew without it being like, and here's why we're calling Palantir on you. It's like, bro, just wanted the thumbnail. But I will be honest with you, the Alex Jones thing that happened on Wednesday too, I didn't catch any of. Did you watch any of that?
I did. It was actually really good, and it was you know, it's kind of sad because it's not necessarily the end of an era, but like because Alex Jones, you know, he's not going anywhere, but
Right.
it totally because Infowars is like it's a name, you know what I mean? Like people
Right.
know what that is, and it's because and just to add insult to injury, Tim Heidecker is
He's like the
is getting
CEO,
it.
right?
Tim Heidecker sucks.
Is he the owner
He's
now, or is he
not
the
funny.
CEO?
I don't know, but he's gonna, you know, parody it, I guess, which is
Yeah.
hard-hitting stuff in the year of our Lord 2026.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, I think my chat told me this. The Tim Heidecker is the reason like why Sam Hyde got fired like why he got originally canceled. Like,
Yeah.
I believe so. Could be a little wrong about that.
Tim and Sam have like beef.
That's awesome. Well,
Like,
if anybody has
yeah.
beef with Sam, I automatically hate them and want them to
Hell yeah.
not be here anymore. So yeah, I guess we can watch a little bit from Alex Jones one on Wednesday. Actually, I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't click on this section literally at all.
Let me
in prep. So is there anyone that you wanted to
do. Yeah,
the
yeah.
downfall
Do
of Trump, the one that you bolded here?
yes. Do that one.
Okay. Sorry guys. Typically I'm really prepared. Josh, for once, I'm not even be honest. Josh surprised me. He prepped almost the entire show today. So give Josh his
Double
props.
salute.
I wasn't expecting it. I was having to plan to like have to carry. No, Josh carried today actually. So appreciate that. But here's this one. Here's the clip. And so it probably and is going to be Nick Fuentes' last appearance on InfoWars as we knew it.
How does Trump think hitching himself one of the most unsavory people, and his numbers are the lowest, 32% plunging? How did he go from jumping for people that supported him but warned him he was doing wrong for our overall agenda to like jumping in bed with his enemies that hated his guts? I mean, Trump is definitely degenerated.
That's all he's got left. I mean, that's the saddest thing is when you or him or anybody looks around, that's all that's left in his camp. Anybody else that's sensible, all the grassroots from the very beginning. I mean, you were one of the first big interviews when people started to pay attention to Trump when he went on your show in 2015. We're all gone. Nobody from the original movement is still hanging on because the principles are not there. The rhetoric's not there. It's just not the same movement. And so with the approval rating, favorability collapsing, you look around at the bench, who do you really have left in the MAGA movement? Yeah, it's Sean Hannity, it's Mark Levin, it's Loomer, and I guess he's just going to take what he can get. So it's a pretty grim and sad situation.
Yeah, he says, I anoint these people, and then because listen, I talk to Trump supporters everywhere, and I don't go off what my listeners want. I wanted to salvage Trump because I always was overall better than the Democrats, so I kind of held back, not wanting to be precipitous, even though it'd be super popular to attack him. I'd say 80% of my listeners are pissed at me that I haven't attacked Trump more. I love Trump like, oh, I don't talk to you, and that's why you do this for clicks. I don't care about CNN playing a clip of me. No, I want to fix the country and the world. I don't know how much danger we're in, but just this idea that you're not at the cool kid table anymore. It's like sophomoric.
It's ridiculous, and I've known you, and my audience knows you too. And this has been an ongoing conversation between you and I for years. And I know that you had reservations and concerns and skepticism, but literally
We've
for
had
no
private
reason
conversations we put on air. I'm like, Nick, I know it's going bad, but think about the Democrats. If we totally leave him, then we'll have no influence. We need to not influence to get contact with him. No, influence to get him to not go sideways. But now I've just given up. I mean, you were right. I was wrong. I mean, there's no.
Seems like that clip started lagging there at the end, but yeah, I mean, like this is something that Alex is going to be getting crucified for. He has been getting crucified for. I think that his response has been kind of disappointing, if you will. I think ultimately, though, it's him trying to not, I guess, have everybody, his entire audience fall out from underneath him. I'm probably in the middle of transferring over to the Alex Jones Network, right? AJN, I think, is the new iteration of what Alex will be pushing on. And I think we also got word that Harrison Smith is going to be departing from him. It's also going to be Harrison Smith is joining Joe Webbin at the New Christian Right. So unsure who else is going to still be even left with Alex Jones. And maybe it'll just be Alex and maybe his son will be involved. Maybe it becomes a very small operation there, but I'm curious to see what's on the other side of that. And if anything, I think in the continuation of this, you may see Alex return to a bit of norm, back to the original Alex Jones, calling it how he sees it.
Yeah, because look, to me, Alex Jones, because like I get he's like on paper he's not a boomer, but like he is kind of a boomer, and when he was firmly on the Trump train, even a couple months ago, a lot of people were giving him a hard time, and I was one of them too, but I do get it because it's like as much as even me personally rag on the boomers, I do empathize with them because imagine like your whole, like you're born in the 50s, grew up in the 60s, saw like basically the tail end of World War II American prosperity only go downhill and say there's something wrong with this, and then someone like Trump to swoop in at the tail end of your life and give you a ray of hope that like things may go back to the way things were, things might change for the better. It's hard for people to let go of that hope. And yeah, we get frustrated because we're going to live with the consequences, not them. But
Right.
but I do empathize with where they come from, even though they're wrong. So I give Alex a lot of credit for even having the gumption to admit that he was wrong, which he essentially did in this in that clip.
Yeah. Well, the way I likened it, especially for Alex Jones, well, there's a couple of things for Alex in particular that marks him a little bit different. For one is like the whole idea that basically his attachment to the Team MAGA gave him some kind of safe harbor, if you will, from all of the Sandy Hook trial. This kind of attempt to like debank him to an extreme degree. Not even debank, it's probably the poor way to say it, but to get him, basically eliminated off air, make him owe, trillion, it's like something like the GDP, greater than GDP of France, is what they charge this guy with. And it's kind of crazy how they even came up with all these damages. But on the comparison I would make would be like, like a scientist who spent like, 15 years of his life to develop like this thing. And only it turns out, instead of being a cure, it turns out what he made was like the scourge virus. And it's like the complete opposite of what you actually wanted it to be. And nobody wants to admit or look at the fact that what they've spent and committed and devoted their like last 10, 15 or so years to was a complete betrayal. And in fact, what they helped was they actually helped carry a Trojan horse into the government only to be stabbed in the back with it. So nobody, I think, likes having to admit that they were wrong, especially in a sense that actually so deeply affects them. But you have to give Alex credit because I think there's a couple more reasons why he's even been hesitant to go all the way. And I think part of that is because he's trying to be protective of his family. I think he knows maybe what would be on their side if he was unable to make these payments, or maybe having his wife would have to be getting sent back to work, all the ways it may have really bad downstream consequences. So I get him on that end. But I do think for a lot of people, it is just in that basic ego sense, which is they can't accept it because it would also reflect back on them. Because it's like, you also cheered this on. You ignored the calls and complaints from people like Nick Fuentes and others about what they were seeing. And now here you are with egg on your face. You can either ignore it and try to, and undignified and maintain in the status quo, or you can accept reality and say, I think we made a mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. And think about like it's easy for someone like you and me, Atlas. You're 30, I'm 28,
Yeah.
and even people younger than us, people that are like 20 in their earlier 20s or even in their teens right now. It's easy for them to look at Alex Jones and cast stones. But think about it. Alex Jones was reporting on this kind of stuff since the 90s. Like he was talking about this level of conspiracy theory before 9/11 even happened. He is on like the cutting edge of this type of of this like news and this dialogue and whatever. And to me, essentially, like I do understand where he's coming from, where he's been on the fringes his entire life, his entire career. And now he's got Tucker Carlson, he's got Donald Trump. And it's to him, it's like his hard work is finally paying off. And it's just like you said, you invented the scourge virus. It is like he is twisting himself in knots to find a way that it's not a complete betrayal.
Right.
But it is. It's terrible.
Yeah, and I think
so. Credit to him for coming around on that.
Right. Exactly.
To the extent he has.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to add there. To the extent that he has, which is to say, he's still like almost in a position where like if Trump were to reverse course, he'd probably start supporting again. Like if he would begin to pull away and back off and, move to maybe more truer positions and stop, continuing this kind of downtrodden betrayal. But that's not in the cards. I wanted to go to Mark Vendy's comment here too, because I think this also brings up another good point. It's Mark Vendy says, I mean, it still wasn't long ago Trump said fight, 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 which really makes it seem he was truly well-intentioned. And I think that's, that's true. This is kind of the stuff that I think when when you're looking at when Trump went to go do his speech, was it yesterday earlier in Florida, and he was going to like the villages. And when you see the rally is loaded with people still who are all decked in MAGA gear, but it's all people older than 40, 50, and 60. It was like the vast majority of them were all well outside of like the youth age range. I don't even know if there was many millennials that were there, especially from all the photos and videos that were coming out. And so I think it's in that lens that that kind of stuff doesn't really phase young people anymore. Young people are so used to everything being such a performance, everything being exacerbated or being used with hyperbole, that I don't really think it landed the same way for a lot of young people. And I would say even around that time, it was in that period though, after Trump had kind of gotten past a good bit of the legal warfare he was in, we were already past Miriam Adelson bailing him out to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. We had already crossed certain thresholds at that point. And so I think for those who were a lot more tuned in and zoomed in to what was going on, they were really less concerned overall with any of the event happening at the assassination or attempt there in Butler, but they were more concerned about the seemingly like difference in rhetoric and some of the small subtle changes from like the small donors to the big donors, just looking at the way that he had changed from when he had first came down the escalator in 2015 to the way he was coming across in his campaign. It was still good, but it wasn't 2016 Trump. And then as the campaign went through, still was okay. But as at the beginning of the administration, it was almost like immediately the ball was dropped. And we've just been witnessing betrayal after betrayal after betrayal. And when you look back, you can retcon it pretty well because you go, well, of course he's doing this because look of who was paying him. And very similarly to Alex Jones, you know, Trump's back is against the wall. And if you look at that scenario, we go back in time, you go, well, what would happen if Trump would have been put in prison? I mean, for many people over the age of 70, and Trump was older than that, he was like 77 or 78 at the time, it is a death sentence for these people. Being put in prison like that, being put in these conditions, being yanked away from all of their way of life, you know, being locked in a box for some of it's the activity. And then on top of that, you got to think, well, if the Democrats did get him in prison, do you think they're going to be treating him like with the utmost respect? Or do you think they would be trying even more underhanded tactics to do things towards him? And I think, of course they would. So I think for Trump, he viewed it in the same way Alex Jones was, which was, if I don't win the presidency, it's over for me. Like the Democrats will keep me in here. They'll find ways to like keep these tactics up, and I'm going to die in prison. And so I think for him, it made the choice easier for Trump to take the money to get in the ear of the Adelsons, because it's the same way for Alex Jones. They were a safe harbor from him. They kept him going, kept him alive. And I think for Trump, he's a very ego-driven person. I think a good, very smart man once told me, his name was Donnybrook, told me like 3 or 4 years ago, he says, you don't have to trust Trump to do the right thing. You have to trust Trump will do what is in his best interest. And as long as Trump's best interest is aligned with what helps the American people, then you can bank on that. But obviously that's changed. The equation has changed. What is in Trump's best interest is no longer in the American people's best interest. And so as long as you can continue to bank on Trump doing what he wants to do for himself, you can continue to understand that the American people are not going to get a whiff what they asked for. And it will only continue to be the trajectory that it has been. Sorry, I've been ranting a lot.
Do you want to move on to another day? Or there was only one other clip that I thought was worth of note from the Alex Jones show, but it's already 9:30, so if you want to move on, that's fine. Okay, it's the second clip from the top, hilarious debate about Tucker Carlson.
Perfect. Oh, I didn't see this. Okay, this would be a treat. Yep. Oops.
Trump.
It's got to be something that makes him look like a joke. I mean, what comes after Trump has to make him look like Barack Obama by comparison. It needs to be like serious balls, serious dictator energy. Like we need someone that isn't playing around because not to be, I'm kidding a little bit, but we do need to get serious. Look at our country. They let in 10 million illegals. We tried to deport them and they rioted to prevent us from deporting people. We're at war in Ukraine. We're at war in Iran. How long before war in Taiwan? The debt's approaching 40 trillion. Like we have real problems.
No, I agree. Well, Tucker Carlson, who you're no fan of, the numbers show Republicans told him, I agree. He said God would have to appear to him to run for president. He doesn't want that. What if Tucker Carlson ran?
I don't know if I would get behind that. I don't think he has the temperament to lead, and I also think he's too much of an anti-Semite. I don't think someone with that much hatred in their heart. Someone needs to tell Tucker Carlson that, we just actually have to love everybody as Christians. I'm kidding a little bit, but no, I don't like Tucker and I don't trust him. So I think he's full of it. And, he is kind of like, he did a thing at Turning Point USA and these college kids were pressing him a little bit and he like lost his mind. He was like angry. It's like, if you can't handle a couple of college kids asking about your net worth, how are you going to handle a campaign? I don't think that's going to work out. So, but he's been pretty good though. Lately, he's been pretty good, even though we have our differences.
I don't know. President Tucker Carlson sounds pretty good. With Vice President Nick Fuentes.
No, you be the vice president if it's him. That's your guy.
Well, listen, Tucker, when nobody was defending me, you were, but being censored, he did. I mean, I like Tucker.
Yeah.
I know you think he's a weasel or whatever. I really don't. I like the fact he's hot-headed. And like when you said something about his dad, he called him, threatened to, I mean, I like the hot-headedness. It's like,
Well, I did his show and then he started talking trash about me. I'm like, Tucker, I thought we were friends now. Like we had dinner. I thought we were cool. And then he starts saying I'm an anti-Semite everywhere. So I want to be his friend. He doesn't want, he thinks I'm gay. He's going around telling everybody that little gay kid that doesn't support JD Vance. It's like, bro, what's your
wait, don't tell him about the threesome you and me and Tucker had in Vegas.
I didn't think you were going to put that out there. That's I went straight to Rome from Vegas.
And then JD Vance came in. Lonnie was there.
That was crazy. That was a crazy night, huh?
Me and Tucker had a little good time in that outhouse right there. That's a joke, folks. Hey, but seriously, I love how you told me like 3 weeks ago, I can't come on, I'm taking a vacation, I'm burnt out. And they claim you're over there plotting Trump's death in Rome.
Yeah, with the Vatican well, we're all from Chicago, so we all know each other, right? Me, the Pope, and Obama.
The truth is, I'm going to come clean. Me and Tucker and Obama had a threesome.
Damn. I'd like to see that.
Well, that's a joke, folks.
I watched that too.
I'm doing some viral stuff here.
I did not see that, dude. No. What? Dude, Alex lost Infowars and he was like, I literally don't give a shit anymore, dude. That's funny.
Dude, when he was like, me and Tucker got pretty crazy at that outhouse.
Yeah.
Dude.
Well, the part that got me was when he's like giddy. He's like, and JD Vance was there. And Melania was there. It was like he's trying to get a reaction from Nick. It's like, dude. This is why we love Alex Jones. This is why we love Alex Jones. At the end of the day, you can tell there's like, all the other pundits, they're all these vapid, robotic, disgusting things. And with Alex, it's like, you just want to pet him sometimes. Like I wish I had an Alex. I wish I had Alex at home.
Yeah.
Where's my Alex Jones at home?
Right. He's such a lovable unk, dude. You know what I mean? He's like, because let's be honest, there's 2 categories of the crazy conspiracy uncle, and he's like the one you love. It's like, he's kind of crazy, but what a guy, right. We love him.
Dude, you know what's hilarious about this though? Because Philly Brawls brings up when he said the hard R in WANGHAFS. I'm not even joking you. I saw another video of a dude asking an old white man. He was like, so I'm saying this for educational purposes, but he was like, he's like, say nigga. He's like, come on, just say it. And the guy turns around as this old white dude and he just drops the hard R and he like can't understand what's wrong because he didn't say the A, and the black dude's like confused too. And they just start staring at each other. But it's like the white dude's like, he didn't even comprehend the difference. He just dropped the hard R because that's what he heard. And then like all these black dudes are surrounding him and he's like, what, you asked me to? He's like, he just didn't understand. Boomers, when they say the N-word, there's only one for them, dude. And it's got a hard R at the end of it. And it was funny when Alex Jones said it. He just says it on air, dude. This is Infowars, everybody.
To that old man, it's like it's like if you went up to someone and said, say y'all, and he was like, you all? Like
yeah.
And you're like, what?
Yeah. But listen, dude, if this is the trajectory of the Alex Jones network, I will be tuning in, dude. I'm gonna ask.
Hell yeah,
you know what would be awesome? So if he's going to the Alex Jones network, he might be interested in taking more guests. I'm gonna hit him up and see if he'd let me come on.
Yo,
to be honest, I would see if he'd be willing to have
that'd
guests
be
come on.
awesome.
Yeah, I would love it, dude. Be able to talk to Alex Jones. I need to make sure my internet's okay for that too. But that'd be awesome.
This is AtlasThugged, aka White Boy Deep Voice. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, right. Who knows? He probably wouldn't even respond to me, but at least try it. It's
That'd be
easier for me to
cool.
go on other
I
people's
would
shows for some reason than for me to host it.
I would recommend though, even to you, to watch this the full show with Alex and Nick, because there's a lot of things that Nick somewhat addresses but doesn't completely flesh out on his show, and then when people super chat him about it, he kind of is like, you should just know this already.
Yeah.
But Alex, like, and I'll give you a perfect example. It's like when Nick Fuentes says vote Democrat, people confuse us, say, oh, you mean just vote Democrat forever. And then it kind of took a little bit of coaxing for him to explicitly say, no, I mean, let's get the Democrat House in so they can impeach Trump, tank this administration, and then we'll get the painter in 2028.
Right.
Alex explicitly asks him a lot of questions about that.
Axe?
So
You black, dude?
yeah, I know. Dude, I was about to say something.
That's funny.
Man.
I didn't mean to interrupt. My bad.
Alex Jones, motherfucker. But okay, anyway, sorry. I should swear. but there's a lot of Nick takes that he explains to Alex. So if there's any, I would recommend it to people to get sort of Nick's take on like Tucker, the Democrat thing. Even Casey Push, I think, is mentioned at one point.
Interesting.
I thought I don't take my word for that. I was kind of skimming.
Word.
So,
yeah, I see there's a lot of lower clips here. I would also say too, it's probably on the Alex Jones Network, but also let me do a shameless plug as well, since they went out on a limb for me. You can find all these on AmericaFirst.plus as well. You can, I believe, and even for free, and like for free members and for like free users, I believe it's basically all the recent 4 shows, whatever the last 4 shows Nick has done will always be free. So you can also catch all the recent stuff he's done, which should mean that this should still be available for people for free if they want to go to AmericaFirst.plus and catch the whole segment. Because even the collaborations that Nick's a part of, they put the full segments up there, which is to be expected. It's actually common courtesy in the kind of space, which is something I forget about all the time. Because like they asked me the other day when I interviewed Pastor Brett McAtee, and they're like, "So do you mind if we record this on our end?" And I'm like, "No, I don't care at all." Which I guess some people do. I know maybe this goes in like the copyright elements. Like some people like won't let you redistribute it. They want to get all the views on their channel. Because again, for some people, it's all about money. Like literally, it's like they don't do this because they care. They care about how much money is going into their pocket. Like, and that's not why I got into this. It's like I got into this because the suicide rate for young men 18 to 30 is like the leading cause of death for those age of men in this country. I got into this because I got tired of watching men walk on their hands and knees while women beat and berated them and browbeat them into being sad little puppy dogs. I got into this because Nick Fuentes said there's a 5th column running this country, and when I realized it and I saw the size of their noses, I said, holy shit, we are operated and owned by a foreign entity, right? I didn't get into this because it's like, wow, I can make $1. I actually avoided getting into this for multiple years, despite how many people told me, what are you doing here? Mr. Radio Voice, what are you doing here? I actually avoided it. I actually hated being told that. And I've tried to avoid it as much as I could, to be honest with you, but turns out there's not too many people willing to stand up. So here we are. What else do we want to go to? What time are we at? We are about to be the 15 minutes left in the regular show mark. We're going to do members only. Yeah. Actually, we were planning on doing a members only segment this time. It's been a while since we had, and it actually was just a hot minute that we were able to even do it anyways, since YouTube basically ripped it away from us for about a month and a half. So let me go ahead and fix this up and maybe click off of here. But that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. I'm going to go ahead and set the timer for that. And forgive me, guys. I literally can't see anything without my glasses.
While you work on that, I'll tease it a little bit. So
let's do it.
I encourage the members, if you're not a member, go ahead and become one real quick, because me and AtlasThugged, we're going to be doing the members only stream directly after this show. And we're going to be talking about some things other than the Groyper report. So, for example, something we discussed was the JP Morgan sex scandal situation. I'm sure you guys have heard about that. We're going to be giving our takes on that in the members only stream directly after this. and some other topics like that, and the basically, you know, just a little bit of white boy gossip going on, you know, in the Groyper Report after party. So Smelly Balls, you better be in there. And anyone else, I encourage you to join in, because we haven't, like, you know, like Atlas mentioned, we've only had the opportunity to do a few of these because YouTube was kind of screwing us over there for a little while. But we have fun doing these. We've done 2 before, so I'm actually excited to get you guys in on the conversation and discuss a couple of these other things we've got going on.
Well, unfortunately, I'm back with bad news, because if you do a portrait stream, it doesn't let you switch over to members only. And I'm realizing that now. So as we learn
You
one step at a
Albanian
time.
bastard.
So we're still going to do everything that Josh said, but it's just going to be available for everybody. So we're just going to keep the stream running a bit longer than we normally do.
Okay.
So because you already
And we'll just
offered
open
it,
it
you
up
already
to
teased
call-ins.
it. Yeah. We can't open it up to call-ins. We can. I can set that up as well too. But yeah, again, because YouTube took these tools away from us, it's been like a month since I've been able to look at them. And the dual stream's a new thing. You guys have probably been seeing this with Zeb Boykin as well, with some of his streams being kind of split, the audience being split between like a portrait version versus the landscape. And I guess you can't switch to members only live stream if you're using both of them, which is unfortunate. But the plan is to do the members only. We're bringing that back, and that includes call-ins and a bit more of a personal conversation, everything that Josh said. But we'll just, it'll be for free for everybody. But just next time, those conversations will go behind the member only. So I guess to continue out and finish out, there's kind of one last story that we didn't really touch upon that, well, there's a couple of them, but I think one main one that we really need to cover. And that came from this story that seemingly was speculative at first, but Candace Owens boosted it and a couple others did as well. And that's the idea that the Daily Wire is going bankrupt. Now, we know that Ian Carroll had covered this extensively about, what was it? Yeah, this is probably about maybe almost a year ago at this point when Ian Carroll had covered this initially. And this kind of came when Jeremy Boring was relegated to a different position. There's a change of leadership. And what we're at now is that the Daily Wire is actually laying off people. Now, Candace Owens says it could be upwards around 50% of their labor force is being laid off. All of the Jews say that's not true. So if you believe that, and where the story kind of sits right now is we've seen like people like Chief Trumpster and some of the other kind of really good news aggregators that exist in the right wing, the dissident right sphere, the America First. They have been catching tags of these different individual Daily Wire employees saying, I'm looking for a job, or hey guys, like I just got laid off, et cetera, et cetera. And inside of that, Nick had some great points talking about what's going on with the Daily Wire. And in fact, that made up the majority of the show yesterday. In fact, there's actually very little about the Iran war. It was like primarily all about the Daily Wire. And so I think that there is a couple of good points in there. And I'm going to go ahead and play the one that you have bolded, Josh. It looks like this is actually probably the broad, maybe the broad bite on the story here.
That's
So here we go.
Don't have an audience. You could argue maybe they never had an audience and they don't even need to make money. If they run out of money, more money will be provided to them. If they don't have an audience, it doesn't matter. They will be kept afloat by outside money, because the purpose is not to have a large audience that is on board and even to create a competitive product. The purpose is to flood the zone with their kind of messaging and to say it as confidently as possible. It exists so that somebody like Ben Shapiro can LARP, can walk around with his chest puffed out like he's an authoritative figure and say the only way to be a conservative is to be pro-Israel. The only way to be a Republican is to be pro-Israel. The only thing to be is to be a pro-Israel Republican. That is what they are designed to do. You want the proof? Take a look at the Free Press with Barry Weiss. Free Press was founded by Barry Weiss about a half a decade ago with seed funding from Peter Thiel, Andreessen Horowitz, that whole little tech network, Joe Lonsdale, very pro-Israel crowd. They never took off. They never had a huge audience. There was never a mass audience of people clamoring for more Barry Weiss. She's not famous. She's not popular. She's not respected. She's not smart. She's an idiot. What she is most well known for is when she was on Joe Rogan and said Tulsi Gabbard is an Assad toady. And Joe Rogan said, "What's that?" And she said, "I don't even know what I just said. I don't even know what that means." That's what she's famous for. Nevertheless, she got money to start this outlet. It never took off. Nobody ever read it. I don't even know if they were ever profitable. And what happened in the past year? Jewish Zionist billionaire Larry Ellison, at one point second richest man in the world, acquired the Free Press through his son at CBS for $150 million. And she got a golden parachute out of her failed project. Now she's editor-in-chief of CBS. Falling upwards, failing upwards. She didn't make any money. She's not a media genius. She's not even good at what she does. She's not a media mogul. She's not smart. She's not competitive. No audience, not popular, not beloved, not profitable. And yet after years at the Free Press, she gets a $150 million acquisition, and the mother of all promotions, she's the editor-in-chief of one of the big three networks at their news bureau. And then she goes there and runs CBS into the ground. She hires a Jewish Zionist to be the anchor for the nightly news. He's the worst rated anchor in CBS history. She takes control of CBS News, worst ratings in CBS history. Is she going to get canned? Is she going to get fired? Is CBS going to go out of business? No, because CBS and CBS News and the Free Press are just one small part of a huge conglomerate. And that aspect of it does not need to be profitable. The money is fungible. And so the Jews that own everything, the Jewish billionaires that own everything in these giant conglomerates, in these asset managers that all own each other, they will just move the money around and they will keep their media operation afloat. Because again, the purpose of the media outfit is not to rake in the dough. That's what the other stuff is for. The other stuff rakes in the dough to fund the propaganda machine.
So, like I was saying earlier, this is kind of also in line with what he was saying to Keith while he was in Rome, which is this concept that these entities aren't there, like the Daily Wire and the Free Press and many of these other pundits, they're not there because they're trying to earn a pretty penny, although many in the surrounding circles are. They're trying to grift off of this. They exist and serve just as what Nick was pushing, which is that the money will find a way back to them. So despite the Daily Wire struggling or needing to lay people off, it's going to be continued to get funded and get donated to the tunes of millions of dollars. And perhaps even Ben Shapiro stocks up even more of his money onto it, because the purpose of it is to, as he said, push the propaganda. That is why they exist here. And so people say, it's surprising, the Daily Wire is still in business. And one element of that is in another clip that you can find from this show too, but it is because of people like Matt Walsh and Michael Knowles. Matt Walsh and Michael Knowles, their existence alone is enough to give the appearance, ostensibly, that there's like an open dialogue. There's like varying voices on the right wing. And in all reality, it's really just Michael Knowles and Matt Walsh carrying water for Ben Shapiro and Klavan and the others who back the entire organization. And I think Nick said it best, which was to say that if you were to remove both Michael Knowles and Matt Walsh, and people really then only saw Ben Shapiro and Klavan continually going on and on and on about anti-Semitism and being pro-Israel, people would actually get a stronger idea of what the Daily Wire actually is and what it serves to do. And it is also surprising when you see the behavior patterns of people like Jeremy Boring, the way that he maneuvered through and the way that he got Isabel Brown, Brett Cooper's supposedly best friend and maid of honor, at the wedding. And I think it was the night before or it was the day of, I can't remember, but it's very slimy, to essentially, sneak behind her and take her job because Brett Cooper was unwilling to, she was just uncomfortable with Jeremy Boring in general. but also wanting to have a bit more of freedom. So you see the way these people behave. And so it's very clear and obvious they would do whatever. There's no personal relationship sacred enough that they do not really honestly care about it enough, that they would do what they will always have done, which is to push this fifth column and to present false options and to give essentially fake kind of lip service to the ideals of the American people. But Josh.
Yeah. No. Yeah, it's exactly right. And this was a point that didn't quite make it into that clip, but he did say it last night, which was like, Ben Shapiro will be on Fox News. He will be a guest on CNN. He will be a speaker. He will be New York Times bestseller Ben Shapiro for the next 50 years. You know, we won't see the end of him no matter what happens. And that's the point. That is Alex Jones will not be rescued by Larry Ellison. Barry Weiss, a professional dumb bitch, is now running CBS News and tanking it.
Right.
But it doesn't matter because Larry Ellison, who has more money than God, is flipping the bill for all these people.
Yeah, which is a crazy thing, right? Larry Ellison, pretty sure he still is the second richest man on planet Earth. And I actually forget who is the richest at this point. I don't even think it's close.
I would assume
either.
Elon.
No, I don't think it's Elon. Man, I can't remember who it is. Maybe it is Elon, but I remember I looked at it not too long ago, like a month ago, and like the difference between number one and number two is like in the trillion, or like by like multi-billion. It was like it's a crazy disparity between even number one and number two. But I wanted to move on to maybe one more final, lesser seen topic, but it did exist through this week. And you guys probably saw it in that clip as well. You might have noticed the quarter zip that Nick was wearing said Fishback for Florida. And I think basically where we are at this point is, I mean, where have we gotten as basically as close to a Nick endorsement of James Fishback without him actually saying, I endorse James Fishback. And I think that's kind of where it probably will stay. And I thought it was funny because Nick even had to give the caveat at the beginning of the show because just like the hard R's, we let them slip. We're white men, dude. They just come out of us. He let one slip right at the beginning. And he was like, oh, shoot, I shouldn't have done that wearing the Fishback. And he also then added the caveat too, which is I'm not a part of the campaign. I'm not being paid by them. I'm not affiliated. But he's adding that caveat because he's clearly wearing the merch because he's clearly supportive of Fishback. And I think the great way that he'd kind of described this is the way that I've kind of seen and picked up on what has been happening with Fishback. And it is the fact that you can have rallies that have a lot of people at them, whether you're at Bob and Jill's breakfast or at the 7-Eleven or you're at Buc-ee's or you're like, you're in front of the Section 8 gas station. It's like this guy can pull a crowd anywhere. And I think Nick kind of picked up on that, which is that's a rare kind of feat. And so I think you're seeing the digital excitement for Fishback is actually also appearing IRL. And when you look at the crowds of Fishback, it's a lot of young people. They're a little bit more diverse than I think what most people would expect, or maybe what people would want. But there's a clear kind of energy to this crowd, which is he's a unifying element. And he's honestly really good. He's a politician. He's charismatic. He carries himself well. He speaks well. He's got good teeth, Hippocratic Oath says. And I do appreciate that. If Hippocratic put all the differences in the money there, it looks like Elon is the world's richest by a good amount. But I say all of this to say I know there's a lot of people who are still hesitant on Fishback. I think for some people, even with Fuentes endorsing him or halfway endorsing him, that makes them even more suspicious of Fishback because I think there's still a lot of people who are ultimately just never going to be satisfied with Nick, and that's unfortunate. But I would say this, and my position's always been where it's been, which is that Fishback is positive in the element of what I said earlier with opening the channel, but that he's pushing the rhetoric out there. The rhetoric is pushing further in different places. And beyond that, too, this is all of the rallying and the excitement for a candidate for governor. He's not running for president. He's not running for any kind of federal or nationally recognized position. He's running for a state position to dethrone and to beat Byron Donalds. And so if anything, it's kind of insane or a testament to Fishback for how viral this race has become. And then otherwise, if he wasn't running, it would be like Byron Donalds and Jay Collins. And like no one would care about that race at all. It'd be here's a black, Israel lover and here's a white Israel lover. It's like your pick. James Fishback kind of has made it an exciting thing to pay attention to. But Josh, your thoughts, and I think after you go here, we'll go ahead and open it up for a call.
Yeah. I thought I'll be honest, because I listened to the show from last night this morning, but like I said, I was listening to it. I just noticed in the clip that he was rocking the Fishback quarter zip, which looks great, by the way. I love the logo and everything. So I'm excited to see it. I'm like these races with Casey Push, Mark Lynch, and Fishback. I'm very excited to see how they turn out. I think Fishback has the best chance. Maybe Mark Lynch has the best chance out of all of them, but Fishback has the most energy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, by far.
So I'm excited to see where these things go, man.
Yeah, me too. And I am rooting for Fishback.
I do disagree with Nick. I mean, I think he's right that Casey Push is probably not going to win. But if I were in your shoes, if I were in Ohio, I would do everything I could to make sure he would.
May 5th. May 5th, Casey Push, this coming Tuesday. If you're in Ohio, go vote for him, or I will physically hunt you down, and I'll make you regret not ever walking up there to that voting box, I should say. Vote for Casey Push. I'm going to physically make you kiss the feet of Vivek if you don't go vote for Casey Push. That's what I would do to you. I'll take you by your nappy ass hair and make you, no, I'm just kidding. That's a little too far. But I would hate you if you didn't vote for Casey Push. Let's just be honest about that. But I guess to move on to we'll go to a bit more of a freestyle here. I'm going to turn over to Josh for a second while I get the third camera. Go ahead and get a little bit set up here. So Josh, take it away.
All right, I'm going to start beatboxing now. So he's getting the calls ready, I guess. We're going to be talking about. So that's Groyper report. That's just about, Nick Fuentes. He's been gone for 2 weeks. I think it was a good series of shows. I really enjoyed like I said before, his show with Alex Jones was really, really good. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend it. And his show from last night was really good, talking about basically the Jewish media dynamic, which we did cover already on this show, but how we need to get money backers in order to be competitive, because it's not simply Ben Shapiro in your face. It's not simply Barry Weiss in your face. It is, they are backed by ultra mega billionaires. And that's ultimately what we're going to need in order to win. Sorry, I got like a nasal thing going on all of a sudden. But to get into the callers, I guess this essentially now is the members only stream. Me and Atlas were talking in the green room a little bit about this JP Morgan sex scandal.
Yeah. This
which,
is go ahead.
I'll be honest, I used to be a believe no women guy, but you saw the guy, right, Atlas? You saw the accuser?
Yeah, I did.
Versus the accused? Let's get real, dude.
And what's crazy is, like, I immediately, when I first saw the story, my first thought was it's too, like, this is, like, it's somebody's fantasies being lived out. For those who might be, don't know what we're talking about, also, the link is in the chat room. We can only do one caller at a time. So if a fourth person does join, I will have to boot you. Don't take it offense to it. We just can only host so many people at once. But this story that came was like insane, because it was, I don't remember what the lady's name is. Her name sounds very foreign too, but it's like Ada Lanich or something like that. I have no idea. I can't remember. But anyways.
Hajini?
Yeah, Hajini.
Something like that?
Yeah. Like Adrian Hajini or something. But the story basically was like, this woman was this guy's boss, and the story was that she made him unwillingly like her sex slave. And it just basically read as like an Indian man's dream, like an Indian man's greatest dream ever. And no joke, the story ran for like maybe 3, 4, 5 hours before eventually it began to be retracted. And so I think it was the fact that it was getting pushed because the guy actually moved a legal team to sue, but then tried rescinding like shortly thereafter. And so if anything is positive about that, it would be the fact that at least like, typically it takes a few days for like the retraction for those kinds of stories to come out. Luckily for this lady, it came out like immediately. And Hippocratic, Lorna Hajdini. So you already look at that and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, it's got to be Indian, dude. You see a name like that, it's like this is desert name. So these are written in the stone names, dude. These aren't, you know, who knows what these are. And
Yeah.
then the guy's face was aired in the retraction story, and holy crap, you want to talk about uncanny valley? You want to talk about the thing that stares at you while you sleep? It is this guy's face, and I'll see if I can find a photo. Maybe I can pull it up.
Yeah, he's somebody's sleep paralysis demon. This he looks like that meme, like Tung Tung Sahur. Like, you know, that like
Tung Tung
Cinnabon look
Sahur. What memes?
you
do
don't know what that is?
No, I don't know what Tum Tum Sahur is.
You don't know what Tung Tung Sahur is? Who in chat knows Tung Tung Sahur?
That's crazy.
You're too unk, Atlas. That's your problem. You know what I mean? You hit
Dude,
30 and then
okay.
the boomer memes are that way. The like AI dog singing Miley Cyrus songs videos are that way, Atlas.
I'll share you guys a story, and I'll share you guys this. I am in the $100 group chat, the Telegram that Nick talks about all the time, and I'm not going to share anything or leak anything, nothing like that. But I want you to know, the moment I joined, I was like getting flamed because I guess I'm a boomer, and like I didn't know what this guy's question was. And so like when I answered it, they're like, this guy's definitely a woman. I'm like, I don't even know what they're asking me. Like, you know, I'm unk now, dude. I don't know what these new terms are. And so it was funny because it was like right at the beginning, I'm getting flamed. And it was cool though, because people recognized me. So not even 2 seconds later, somebody said, isn't this that wigger who reacts to Nick clips? I just gave it a thumbs up emoji and I closed it. I'm like, that's enough $100 group chat for me today. So who knows what else has been said since then.
You got in that for free, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. Well,
dude.
Well, not for free.
A little bit of white privilege. A little bit of white privilege.
White privilege. No, I got in because one of the, I believe one of the developers actually has followed me for some time, who actually worked on the website. So they did me a favor.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. It's a big responsibility to have. I changed like my password and everything on all of my stuff too. So like nothing from that chat can get leaked out.
I will say this, and I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't feel this way, but here's my perception of it is I've been a Nick fan since 2017. And I honestly, I don't want to meet him. Even if I get skinny and jacked, I'm afraid. I've seen him so long, and if he didn't like me, I'd be devastated. So it's like,
well, you never meet your hero.
I'm fine with the distance. Yeah, exactly.
You never meet your heroes. Like I want people to really, really like. You never want to meet your heroes. It's just like it is such a. If anything's super tragic, it's that, which is you more often than not will be disappointed by the people that you idolize, which is to be had. I mean, like, you know, we're humans, we're fallible, right? Like the only person you would be able to meet who you wouldn't be disappointed in would be Jesus Christ. With that said, though, what I would say is yes, if you started slimming down, like chat, if Josh had my jawline and my physique, there'd be nothing to fear. There'd be nothing to fear. Do you think, like woman propaganda, right? Do you think Josh, if he looked like me, is going to get slapped by some short little Jew? He looks like this? No, of course not, dude. You're going to touch Men in Black Atlas? I make you forget whatever happened. I'll beat you again. What? You do forget it. Beat you again. Nothing happened. But you mean you would be disappointed. And I would say too, like, I think that means though, like at the same time, he's actually kind of convicting you on something he actually pushes for, which is don't represent the movement if you feel uncomfortable, insecure in yourself, which is to say, if you know and can recognize you're going to be seen and perceived as like a chud, you know, an unfuckable chud. It's like, well, then it's like you do those things too, you know, to get around them. But I do get it. I feel like a lot of people like feel that way because they're like intimidated.
Well, and yeah, to me, it's like
tactics at what just happened.
I like Nick a lot as what he is,
Yeah.
which is a political commentator. And to me, it's like I don't need to be his friend.
Yeah.
And because the truth is no matter what, there would be like pressure on me to, like, it would not
Yeah.
be like my relationship with one of my friends or with you, where to me it's like we're just kind of on the same playing field. There
Right.
would be this sense of like I'm trying to appease him,
Yeah.
and I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? I'm happy with Nick where he is for me. Not to say so, and that's why I say, like, with super chats and stuff, like I send super chats every now and then, and I pride myself on
Are you
never
Niger
had a
Soros?
No, I'm not Niger Soros.
I love that.
I can't
Because
say
the
my
super chat
username now.
says African American Soros says, because it automatically censors the
Yeah. That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's a real dinosaur, and it's not.
Yeah.
It's Niger-saurus.
Right, there's
because they
only
found
one
it in
G.
Niger.
Only one G.
Yeah.
I still pronounce it as the hard G. I still say no, just kidding.
The dinosaur with
funny.
500 teeth.
Yeah, right. No,
But
you're Miami Groyper. You're Miami
jig is
Groyper.
up.
Holy
Jig is up.
Yeah, right. Now it makes sense. Now
No,
I understand
I'm
it. That's where all the NAV funding went.
I've gone by many names over the years. My most recent one is it starts with an N. It's just the word iguana, but with an N at the very beginning.
Oh yeah, I know. I've seen it before because you've clipped some of them. Yeah, an iguana.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
So, dude, it's just it's like the same thing, dude. Like Niger,
Yeah.
iguana, they're like the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Real
and
words.
I pride myself on either having made him laugh or not pissing him off. But you know what the thing is I don't super chat every night. I only
Yeah.
super chat if something funny comes
You
into
got a
my head and
banger.
I think it's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
exactly.
got an ace up your
when
sleeve.
I'm-
You're like, I gotta let it, dude.
Or when I'm shilling my Charlie Kirk harassment videos. You
Yeah,
know?
right.
Th-
Right.
Only those.
Well, to go back to what you had said though, what I would say too, like on a personal note as well, like just stop caring what people think about you. Like just quit. Like this is the thing I think a lot of people struggle with. And I'll be honest, like I did too. I went through the same. I went to high school too, dude. Like we all felt those pressures of like, that do I have the biggest dick? I don't know. I would like to know if I had the big but no, like the pressures like to perform, right? And so, what I would say though is you get to a certain point in a certain age where you realize like you're always alone. You're always going, especially as a man. Like your house functions if you make it function. Your marriage works if you make it work. You have money if you earn the money. Like other people's opinions matter so far as to like what it actually can do to affect you. And if some random person like says like, hey, I think that you're dumb and stupid, it's like, okay, you're black. You lose. Like I'm white. It's like, no, not, but to be serious though, like, people need to not care as much about what people think of them. It holds people back, especially like it develops into these like really terrible, like they call it like frimping. I think is like the right word. I think Sal Volcano from Impractical Jokers talked about his big struggle with this, where he like, it's now a meme where it's like a overweight guy before he dies, the last thing he'll do is make sure his shirt goes over his stomach, and it's like these very like, these things that doesn't matter. Like everyone can tell you're fat, and no amount of times as you pulling that shirt over your love handles makes them disappear. It's not like all of a sudden you pull your shirt down and people are like, whoa, oh my gosh, dude. Like this guy's getting into shape. And then like the shirt comes up and they're like, oh my gosh, he's fat. It's like, no, dude. Like we can see it. And it's not to be rude by any means. I know sure people probably struggle with that. But you gotta get out of the mentality of caring what people think. Especially when you see like how half people vote, how half these people like actually talk, how half of these people like, I mean, you seriously, like if Morgan Ariel told you like she hated you and she thought you were ugly, do you think that matters at all? Would that have any effect on you literally at all? It shouldn't, period. Who the hell is Morgan Ariel? This one's got like 18 baby fathers, and who else even knows what her ethnicity is? Who cares? You need to make sure you can kind of like tone that in, because life seriously gets so much easier when you stop caring. And Keith Woods had a great post about this. Everything gets easier when you just don't care. And I think people need to take that to heart.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying. Like, obviously, we're kind of applying that to perception.
Right.
Like, what is what do these strangers think about me? Because that's kind of that's something, like, I'm kind of naturally a shy person around new people, and to me, it's like, I don't know why. I just always was. And there's times where you're just like, whatever. Especially the older I get, the more I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
some Indian guy at the gym.
Yeah.
Whatever, dude. And that's
Yeah.
like whenever I would see someone, especially like someone who's doing something wrong, and I'm like staring at them, if they like look back at me and be like, oh, I don't want them to know I'm like judging them. But
Yeah.
now I see a mixed race couple and I'm just
Not even trying to hide it.
I'm kidding. Yeah.
I want them to feel
Like,
discomfort.
you should not.
Yeah. Yeah. You're holding up
Nowadays, you can't. I have to pick one. They're all over the place.
Yeah. Which one do I make uncomfortable? Which one do I want to leave the country
exactly.
first? We're gonna pick. I want this guy to leave first, actually. And yeah, no, you're right. I mean, it's not like what I'm saying is not to give you a free pass to be an utter like idiot online, and then be like, yeah, I don't care what anybody says. I'm going to be a retarded idiot. No, I'm just saying in the sense of not to let the minor criticisms of people who couldn't hold a candle to you matter to you in the slightest. And it does get easier as you get older. Like for me, for example, it's like when I have to be at a certain place at a certain time, and all I really have been thinking about is like I've not seen my daughter hardly at all in like 2 days, and and then like there's someone out here like and I like maybe I went a little too fast. I want to hit the yellow light. I don't give a shit about the black woman screaming behind me. I'm trying to see my daughter. Literally don't care. Bye. See ya. Good luck. It's things like that, and I think people get anxious about things too. And again, a lot of this is like mind games. You're playing mind games with yourself. A lot of times, the only enemy present is your own brain. It's like you're actually making it worse of a situation than what you are, than what you're even in the first place. And to get a super chat from GeoGaster, he says, I spotted Josh once. He gives nonchalant chats. Like, sup, bro, here's $20. Only treating large, handsome chats well is girly behavior, though. Interesting.
Oh, is he talking about super chats?
No, I think he's referring to like the way that Nick responds to like unfuckable chuds versus chads, which that's more of in a context situation, which is AF Deplorable and whoever the other guy was represented America first and did so looking like obese fat slob. And then on top of the optics looking bad, they literally sounded like idiots. And then literally did make the message about what it's not actually about. I think AF Deplorable specifically said something to the effect of like the Jew thing is just kind of like a joke. Everyone knows it's a joke. But what we really need to do is end the Fed. And it's like, okay, you can go find Rand Paul and go sit with him because that's your section, right? Like that's not what America first is. And so if you're given the chance and you take an interview with CNN and you represent it very poorly, and I'm not going to what the expectation is next to be like, okay, well, next time you do that, it's like, no, never do that shit again. Why did you even attempt to do that? I think maybe to put into more context there. But again,
well,
too.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, it's like to a lot of these people, like Nick even posted something from Tucker Carlson on his Telegram today, talking about how Tucker thought, yeah, immigration is bad. White people are being replaced in our country. But I think what it really comes down to is people can't afford a house, and people, like times are tough financially. Hard times are accruing on all young people. And it's like, dude, we would not want to live around brown people, even if they were nice, even if they bothered to learn English, even if they were all shedding their cultural heritage and were like, I'm just American as apple pie. It's like, I kind of still wouldn't want them here. You know what I mean?
I get that.
Even if the boomer fantasy were real, it would still not be ideal. You know what I mean?
Well,
but it's just not.
The point I would add on top of that, though, is like this: even if Nick wasn't here, you would have me saying, "I'm sick of seeing fat white men." Like, even if Nick wasn't here, you would have me saying it. I am tired of seeing this shit. Like, I bring up Walmart all the time because I hate going to Walmart, and part of the reason is because of the Indians. And if it's not Indians, I'm being hit in the back by some 400-pound white dude who's in an electric scooter. Like, that stuff, it bothers me, you know, and too many times I see it rife even in people who I'm close with. And I'm not trying to be offensive by any means. If this is the way I talk, this is a part of its entertainment, and I'm just going to be offensive sometimes. I'm not even going to apologize for it anymore. But that's real, dude. And like, I became a personal trainer to help people not learn how to put food in their mouth when they shouldn't be putting food in their mouth. And it bothers me deeply because a lot of these guys are also the same ones who push things like, you know, we got to take America back. We got to do this. And it's like, what? And you're going to lead people with the McDonald's bag and grease stains on the front of your gray t-shirt? Like, get the hell out of here. You know, you can't even lead your own marriage, let alone another man. And that's what offends me too, is it's like, how do you lack the self-awareness of this? And also, on a deeper, maybe a more personal level, I still struggle to understand how people can live life and satisfied that way. I don't even get how you don't stay up at night thinking about how much you have no discipline or how you lack self-control. And I know this might self-convict some people, but I'm not trying to be offensive. It is to say, like, I'm so far removed from it that I don't get how you can be even halfway okay taking another step without radically changing something like that. And part of the reason too is, even on the very shallow and vapid sense, most everybody knows that's the main reason why you can't get laid. So why are you not working on it? You could take two rocks in a flat wall, and you could sit there and chisel yourself into something a woman would want to be with. So what's stopping everybody? Again, that's kind of some more personal thoughts. I'm not trying to be offensive by any means. I know maybe I'm being a little bit too harsh towards Josh, but I'm being serious of, like, this is
targeted
the mindset that I really want to push out. And again, I'm an intense person. I know I am. So I try not to be abrasive.
No, but that's why, dude, because genuinely, like, I'm 28. You know, I used to, the biggest I was 395. And so I've lost 100 pounds on my own, and it's not enough. But like, 2026 has been the year of the lock-in. Like, I've officially started a business. I'm losing weight. It's go time, dude. I'm excited.
Yeah.
The time is now. Soon you'll see me, DeCarlos Brown, who murdered Iran Azur. You're going to see me like Black Noir. I'm going to like tear his head in half on national television in Minecraft.
Well, listen, dude, we have to meet in person at some point. I think the goal will be that we and you need to meet up in person. And well, for one, I want to just be able to outbench Zeb and get on camera, but then also to, get the fitness going, get the gains going for you. And it's also part of it too, is like, I always feel bad doing any kind of personal training for anybody when I can't like be there in person to like actually show them. You know, I think words carry only so much, but for a lot of people who've not done half the exercises or don't, like when I say like, if I'm doing, tricep, whatever exercise, some people maybe can't easily visualize it. And so if I'm going on an explanation about when your muscle head does this and you do this, it's like, I might as well just be talking about what bird I saw this morning coming out of my car. So there's, some elements of that I wish I could get in person, right? Yeah, exactly.
A bird
nonsense.
came out of your car?
Yeah, nonsense. You never had that happen before?
No, this is Ohio problems, I guess.
Yeah, I left my window
down. We have
down.
gators though in South Carolina.
Yeah, see, this is why the Yankees were always superior. I did have a bird come out of my car once. I used to live in the country, and I had a Celica, it was a 94 Celica, Toyota Celica, or 95. And I left the other side of my window down. I didn't realize it was my passenger side. So when I entered the vehicle, I entered in on the driver's side and never saw the passenger side. And the window wasn't all the way down, but it was partially down. Dude, opened the door, bird came flying directly at me, dude. I literally like strained my arm, because in the reaction, I'm still hanging on to like the door handle, and I'm like, whoa, and like I didn't let go. So like I like snapped, like my arm was kind of like snapped by the car handle. And yeah.
Dang. Okay, all right. since now we're kind of in the casual stream and no one's calling in, you bastards.
I know.
Well, you kind of just told me a crazy story. What's like a crazy animal story you've had? Or like, I don't know, have you ever broken a bone? You ever had stitches?
I've had stitches. I've never broken a bone.
Give us some Atlas lore.
So you said an animal story. I do have one. I think I've told this story before, but not for a long time. The animal story that I have, and part of the reason why I hate animals, and I probably shouldn't, but I do. I probably have deeper hatred towards animals than I do humans. The thing that happened to me when I was younger was my grandma actually owned and operated her own barbershop in a small town. And me and my brothers would always get our hair cut at this barbershop. And it was my grandma owned it. So it was just my mom taking her to our grandma's, and we would sit in the shop and get it done. And one of these times, it was my mom was getting a haircut and not me. And I forget how old I was at the time. I was maybe like 4 or 5 years old. I can barely remember this memory. And so while my mom was getting her haircut by my grandma, I was out playing like in the yard because her barbershop was literally just attached by a sidewalk to her house. So it was a walking distance to her house. And who she lived next to at the time was actually one of the only few farmers left in Ohio who had bison. They're not buffalo, but I think it's bison. They had bison and horses and a few other animals. And it was the only thing separating us was like a weird, weak wooden fence. They had chickens as well. Now the chickens could walk underneath the fence. The fence didn't block completely, but a horse or a bison sees that, they're not even going to attempt it. They just would walk away from it. It was just as an object in their way. The chickens, I didn't realize they were coming towards me, but as I was playing on the hill, I was sitting down and it freaked me out, but I just hear clucking and I like turn around and there's like 3 chickens like literally behind me. And without even realizing it, they like, I don't even know what, just a flurry of white because one of them starts pecking me. And I started freaking out. I'm like 4 years old, 5 years old. So I'm freaking out because these birds, because when one started pecking me and I reacted, they all started pecking me. So I was like in fetal position, like as these chickens are like swarming me because I don't even know what to do. I'm like freaking out. I tried running.
You like went to the ground.
Yeah,
You, like,
yeah.
fell
I'm like,
down
yeah, I'm like trying to cover up. I just remember like I started screaming and like freaking out. My mother, either my mother or my grandma ended up coming out and getting me. But ever since that day, I see a chicken, all I want to do is rip its head off. I have a deep rivalry with chickens. But that's an animal story for me. And I'm allergic to like literally almost all other domesticated animals. So like I could not want any further away from most animals that I see, to be honest with you.
Oh, dude, I wish. I hate pets.
Yeah.
I don't have any. Everyone tries to get me to have a pet, and I don't want them. They don't like top bodies. They like money status.
Man.
I don't know what he's referring to. Who's that?
Talking about woman preferences, but this is like disproven in real time.
Oh.
Right? Tom Brady's wife went off with who? Brazilian jiu-jitsu instructor, some Middle Eastern monkey, right? Like this Brazilian, right? No, and so you see it time and time again. There was another story that was similar to that. Who was it?
You know what they like? Drama. They don't like comfort. Wherever the grass is greener is where their mind is at. Even if you're married to the biggest football athlete in the universe.
Wasn't there literally somebody else who? Oh yeah, we were just talking about this with Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. We were talking about that in the pre-show. Like Blake Lively is with Ryan Reynolds at the top of his peak with during the Deadpool era, and then she goes and because like this Middle Eastern man in some other random movie nobody watched, she's getting with him, and then it turns into a sexual misconduct case. It's to actually attach a logic and reason to women is like the last thing you should do. There is no logic there. There's none. There is a desire, and then there's an action. That's it. That's really all that it is. And I don't even know if it is for the most part. Because what's that saying, right? Any rich man's wife can be taken by what is it? What is the saying? It's something like any rich man's wife is fair game if the plumber is well hung enough. It's like something like that, dude. I can't remember what the phrase is. But you've seen it time and time again. I've seen it like happen in real life. I've seen it happen to people who I know. Who's like marriages have been upended by a guy who literally doesn't even have a job, but it's because like he's got some kind of looks to him. And if anything, you see this kind of often, like a guy who can get by on his looks relies on them, and so he like doesn't need to. He doesn't go for as much.
I was just gonna say,
well endowed. Thank you. I couldn't remember this stupid word.
Maybe all of these kind of like all the pool boy jobs being given to like 4'2" Mexicans.
Yeah, Mr. Suds.
Maybe we were too hasty. Maybe bean guys. Maybe we were too hasty.
Yeah, well,
don't deport them all. Maybe that's why Donald Trump doesn't want them a lot. So who's going to be filling all the roles? It's only going to be young white dudes going to be cleaning the pools at Mar-a-Lago, as opposed to like hello, like gazpacho. You know what I mean?
I think the people they have at Mar-a-Lago is like the chick from Family Guy, the Asian cleaning lady, or not the Asian cleaning lady, the Mexican cleaning lady.
Consuela.
Yeah. That's who I expect to see like at Mar-a-Lago. It would just fit in. A bunch of tortas like all around, like, oh yes, we love Trump, yes. They're like cleaning things.
I love you, Donald Trump.
Melania's like off somewhere in a corner crying about something that no one cares about. Which is something I'm curious what people think about that. Like, I've seen a little bit of what was being pushed out that Melania's like distancing herself from Trump, or at least like, personally.
I feel like she's been doing that. She's been doing that for a long time. She's been doing that since the end of the first administration.
I really, yeah, I don't remember any other like reporting of it. Like at least not off the top of my head, I can't think of any other time where it was like a meaningful report coming out. But this one stemmed from like, she had like spoke to the press, like this is like 3, 4, or 5 weeks ago, when right after Trump had said something to the effect about the Epstein files, she actually came out and like contradicted him and said she supported a full investigation or something to that effect. And I remember Alex Jones was running with it, saying like there's also other things going on. So as far as you want to trust Alex Jones and his sources. It would be curious to see. Maybe it is more just to stir up drama. Like that's the only way that she feels excitement in his life, is to like stir up drama about her husband. I don't know. It's just the way some of this goes, right? The neuroticism of women is undefeated.
Yeah.
But that is kind of like the 2.5 hour mark. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on? No one called in.
Nah, bunch of babies, bunch of crybabies. They always want more content. Yet when the time comes to call it, to be fair though, I kind of get it, since it's not members. If it were members, people would probably be more okay with it because they wouldn't be showing their face.
Yeah,
so I take back what I just said.
Yeah.
But,
well, listen, don't have a fat face. No, I'm just kidding. I'm messing. But we did get another super chat from GeoGaster. We appreciate it. He says, I doubt Tom's body isn't great. Josh is right. They like drama. Yeah, well, I mean, they're primal. It's very simple. It's like Tom Brady, her husband, wasn't around. She is getting grabbed, picked up, groped, felt, twisted like a pretzel, and bent down by another man. It is only natural that then she will be immediately wanted to be. She was just physically dominated by a random male. Of course, she wants to have sex with him. It's a very simple equation. It's like it's primal. It's a desire and then action. They have a desire, they act on it. Desire, act on it. And the only thing that you can hope is that you instill enough kind of inhibitions that you've built the 8 gates that she has to seriously undo all 8 gates before she makes a terrible choice, right? That's the hope, that there's enough inhibitions, that she had a good father, that you're a strong enough husband, and that you have a strong enough actual meaningful relationship with her that she was not willing to sacrifice it, that it adds as a layer of defense of like before your life is upended. But yeah. And I think older women are a different story too. But go ahead.
He's an old head now, but Patrice O'Neill, he talks about this a lot, and he says a lot of the stuff that is now kind of resurfacing in the manosphere.
Is he still around? I thought he passed away.
Oh, he died in 2011. He's been gone a while, but
Yeah,
like
I
he
thought.
was talking about that. He was kind of the original Manosphere guy,
Mm,
and he talked about exactly this. How he's like, you know, it's like, oh, your like wife or girlfriend isn't intimate with you anymore. Here's what you do, and it
mhm.
literally is just go get some side, because even if they don't catch you, they'll like it'll change you, and you'll know, and like they will know.
Yeah,
Even if they don't think it, the change will, the odor, the energy will shift.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
right,
It's when you want them, when you beg,
right.
it it's the opposite.
Well, yeah, because you as a male should never be in the position of chasing. Let me tell you that right now. If you are
Mhm.
chasing, you are losing. Period. No relationship period will ever work for a male if you love and are romanticizing the wife more. It will always fail. You will always lose, and it will always result in extreme heartbreak and bad consequences. Always, every single time. I think the Spider-Man trope that's developed, talking about this, which is if only Spider-Man would have picked what's her name, Gwen, instead of MJ, he would have made the
Yeah.
better choice. I mean, this is part and parcel, like in the line of thinking there, which is you never go for the girl that you have to chase. Period. And it's that dynamic, and like what Josh had said, like that begging, or I mean, just think about it. Like you are in a position where you're having, like many of these guys, you see these posts on Reddit and everywhere else all the time, where guys like begging his wife to have sex with him. Why? For one, why are you begging? And two, like, of course, your wife is not going to want to have sex with a guy who's like, well, please, please, and if I get you chocolates too, and I'll turn your heating pad on, and like if we do it right at 8:30, we're finished just before 9, so you can catch your show. I mean, these are the moments where like I just want to stand over and be like get off your knees. I wish I was in the fly on the wall in the room, but like get off your knees, like stand up. Remember who you are. It's just never going to work that way. And a lot of it too, I mean, this is what I get angry about all the time, because a lot of it is this broken kind of mentality that stems from the fact that when most boys are raised, they are lied to about what women like. They are lied to about women behavior, and they have to learn the hard way. Now, some people get lucky. Some people get lucky and they see it happen to a brother or a friend, and they get enough of that pain that they don't have to go through it themselves. But for most people, they learn the hard way. They learn that girls don't like flowers. They don't like you when you hold the door open. They like when you treat them like trash. And this is just the reality of it. And so a lot of guys, they stick to it. They're like, if I get on my knees, maybe if I lay all the way down on my belly and I let her dig her heel into the back of my neck and I lick the ground that she walks on, maybe then she'll respect me. It's like, brother, you couldn't get any more undignified. There's nowhere lower to go. You're at the bottom of the stairs at 1,000 Mayan temple. You've rolled all the way down. There's literally nowhere else to go. Like you have been cast out. The real trick for many of it is never even allowing it to get to that point in the first place. But at the same time, if that dynamic ever presents itself in your relationship, it's either a huge character flaw on yourself, on her, or it was never meant to be in the first place. With that, I think that's a good place to stop for the show. We do appreciate everybody coming in as always. Christ is King. Seek first the kingdom of God. Literally nothing else matters beyond that. Period. Truly. Make sure you guys are reading your Bible. You guys need to make sure that you are actually taking prayer seriously, that you are actually doing, not just going through the motions, that you are actually trying to seek out and understand and repent and keep in mind and be mindful and gentle, all of the fruits of the Spirit, everything. I don't represent that nearly as well as I probably should. I try. I mean, it's kind of a combination of, being an entertainer, but also trying to actually get the points across. And maybe I probably have plenty of areas I can improve. And that goes without saying, we're all flawed people just trying to be better. And so with that, we will catch you guys next week on the Groyper Report, which actually, matter of fact, if next week is on the 9th, I might not be here. I'd have to go check the date. But maybe Josh can run the show solo. But if we are both here, we will have the members only segment. And maybe if it's Josh can figure out how to do the member segment as well. And we appreciate you guys. Any final words, Josh? Turn it over to you.
No, it's good to be back. I've enjoyed doing the Groyper Report as always. Fun doing it with AtlasThugged. Pause. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'm excited to see y'all again, hopefully next week.
Well, thank you for that, Josh. And we appreciate everybody for being here. Smelly Ball says, I love you, Josh. And we love you too, Smelly. I like how you always leave me out. That's funny. And no, we'll put both of us back on screen. Thank you very
I
much.
love you too, Smelly.
We will catch you guys next time. Never black pill. At the bare minimum, at least clear pill. Be unbothered. And man, Lord willing, we will get our country back. See you guys next time. Have a good night. Take care.
Where do you stand politically? Give us your political ideology.
Okay, I can say anything I want.
Yeah, bro. Say yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, the day-to-day stuff, I'm like, yeah, more bullshit. Another white girl got stabbed to death? Of course she did. What do you expect? For my politics, I just watch America First with Nick Fuentes.
Okay.
I consider myself a Groyper. Sometimes I just wait to hear Nick's take to make sure I have the right take before I make videos, you know? So, yeah, I just go with what Nick says. I just defer all my political opinions to Nick Fuentes at this point. I'm America First. I wish that we had white Christian men running the country. It's unbelievable to me that we have a government that has a policy other than America First. How does that make any sense? We pay taxes, like, use our taxes to benefit the country that we live in.